That's a different computer.
Yeah.
You're very smart.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, welcome everybody to the loading screen. I don't do these podcasts anywhere near as much as I should. Life gets in the way. Shit goes down. But yeah, we're back for another episode of the loading screen. I got Bagel with me again this time.
Hello.
From the Gamer Breakfast Podcast. I was going to ask if Skoy wanted to come, but I think he's still moving
he's
and
busy.
stuff. Yeah, so I was like...
He literally got his computer set up yesterday at like 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll grab him next time. So she's playing Wild Hearts too, right?
He just got it. He's going to start it, I think, this week or something, but he hasn't started playing yet, no.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll pick his brain about that later. Anyway, but yeah, topic of today's podcast is going to be Wild Hearts, of course, because nobody's playing Monster Hunter right now.
The game doesn't exist.
So, yeah, for people who don't know, Bagel is Monster Hunter Rise World Speedrun Extraordinaire, Pokemon Shiny Hunter card game collector. Does a lot of stuff on his channel, and he's got his own podcast with Skoy called the Gamer Breakfast Podcast. So, yeah, we'll put all that link stuff in the description below. But hey, what's up, Bagel? We're talking Wild Hearts today. What's going on?
Well, you know, same old, trying to contemplate whether or not to actually play Wild Hearts. So like I sat down at my computer when you messaged me this morning. You're like, hey, give me an hour. I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. I sat down. I was like, what do I want to do for an hour? And I opened up Wild Hearts and I stared at it for an hour. And I was like, I don't know. Is this what I want to do right now? Like, is this the thing that I want to invest my time in? And so, I mean, I guess that's what we're going to talk about today is like our
experiences.
Our experiences and opinions on the game. So I don't know, like where do you want to start us off at?
Let's start with our first impressions and playthrough, because the game, when you start the game, is very different than when you end the game.
Yes, so very much so.
Let's go ahead and start with you with what were your thoughts on the game as you started it for like the 10-hour demo or whatever, and then by the time you finished it, like what general impressions.
Well, 10-hour demo, please, Fem. I'm a gamer. I had early access.
Did you have early access, like the 2 weeks?
I did have early. Yeah. Oh no. I had normie early access. I had a week early.
Okay, that's wait, a week early. I got it like on the 3-day early.
Yeah, well, like Monday or whatever that is. That's like a week. 3 days is a week, right?
Fair enough. Okay, we got it at the start of the week, not at the end of the week.
Yes,
but
it came out at the end.
Yeah, there was like 3 versions that went out. You had like the 2-week early access, like press review copy.
It was like a 2-month press copy.
Was it
2? There was, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think so because like there was like a creator test demo to run too. And that creators were making content on too, because I'm pretty sure that's what Rune and Nagiri did, but I hadn't talked to them about that yet.
Oh yeah, I should talk to them about that. And then I know some other people got it about 2 weeks early.
Mm-hmm.
For obviously for
YouTube content.
Yeah, and then all the normies got it. Well,
like us,
slightly elevated normies got it when everyone else got their 10-hour demo, but we got the full game instead of the 10-hour demo. So. Anyway.
Yeah, so I because I wasn't planning on playing the game, because like let's actually start with even getting the game. I had made the decision that I wasn't going to play the game unless I was given a copy. $70 is a lot for a video game, right?
Especially we had nothing going in. We had no idea.
Exactly. None, because the only things that they showed were a little bit of gameplay, which looked okay, but the gameplay was a cinematic trailer. So we couldn't take a lot off of that, right? So we had that. We had all these cinematics. We had like some like dev Q&A. There really wasn't a lot to go off of for a brand new IP from a well-known, action RPG kind of creator, right? The creators of Tokiden and Neo. Mm-hmm. Was it Team Omega?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah. Team Omega. Or Omega Force. So,
Omega Force. Yeah. Omega something. It's in there. We did our research.
Omega
Weapon. And so I had made that decision that like I wasn't going to play it, right? Lo and behold, someone bought it for me, and like I was like, oh, bet, like, all right, cool, I'll play it when it comes out this week. And then I realized that I had a DM from a EA community manager that I missed for like a week. And I was like, oh, homie, you sent me a message on Twitter. I didn't see that nonsense.
I hate getting messages on Twitter because they don't pop up because you have to like go in and check out like message requests too. You're
it's
like,
so aggravating. It's so aggravating. So if you are a community manager messaging content creators, hey, we put an email in our description. Please send something to that instead, because Twitter DMs are not the way. Anyways, so when I finally got access to the game, I was like, yes, I will play this. That's my first starting point. Get it as cheaply as possible, because, and we'll talk about it too, you don't know if you're going to be able to play it. But playing the game was fun. And just like you said, I was really hoping that those questions at the very beginning of the game would like actually mean something. And when you're sitting down with starts with an M, the dude,
the guy doesn't matter.
Majima?
Yeah, Hajima. Yeah, I don't know what something his like entire purpose was, but yeah.
Yeah, man, he sure was a character. But I was really hoping like that was something, right? But it wasn't. Like it didn't. It would have been fun if like you answered those questions and it gave you like a different preset when you started out, like based on those answers. Like that would have been something. Yeah, or yeah, like you got a different weapon or something like that. Like that would have been fun. But they just didn't do that. Whatever. Those were just like pointless questions. But the gameplay, like first sitting down and trying it was fun. But like we go into it with like this Monster Hunter like mentality of like it's a new game. You have this weapon. You're just going to go in and bully the monster. But in reality, you get bullied back because it's an incredibly different like combat system, and everything is just so different. Everything was just so weird. Like learning the basic karakuri was like the hardest thing to do. Like actually learning how to use that stuff.
Did you go in? So my mentality when I went in was, I am not going to use the karakuri at all. I'm going to use my weapon, and that's it. If I have to use the karakuri for whatever like progress story, I'll do it. But I was like, no, I'm not using it.
The only reason I didn't go in with that mentality only because I knew that there was a giant hammer and I wanted to beat the shit out of monsters with that.
Fair enough. But yeah, like same experience starting out. I was just like, this does not feel like Monster Hunter at all.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was, but I was just like, this feels way more like Neo or like a Souls game. Like it's not Monster Hunter. So yeah, it's very built on the like, because you even said it too when you were streaming it the first day. You're like, oh my gosh, being able to iframe attacks, it makes me miss World. and then I was like playing around with it, dude. The iframe is as long, if not longer, than a Dark Souls roll. It's so big.
It's huge. And so once you go in with this mentality that like, oh, you have this inherent ability to roll through pretty much every attack. I think there's like only 2 attacks in the game that have animations longer than your iframes, which they kind of expect you to get away from. There's only like 2 like that, and I'm pretty sure Fumebeak is one of them. Because the poison cloud is dumb.
Dude, that fucking poison thing. The 3, just, or like the quick one where it jumps up and does like a fast double. Ugh, yeah.
A stupid creature.
You know how you dodge
we'll
it?
get into that.
Roll through
you
it.
Don't.
Like, no, you run straight into it.
Really?
Yeah, because it'll go right through you. Because you have so much iframes that the thing goes past you and then blows up behind you.
That's actually brilliant. Holy shit. I always ran away and then would get hit by it because tracking in that game is worse than Rise.
Oh my God.
It gets designed that way, right? Like we complain about it, and I say this like constantly whenever I'm streaming the game because I get frustrated with it because like you just get like hit over and over and over and over again sometimes because like you just mess up one thing and you're like trying to heal and then like trying to avoid,
and you're not safe on the ground, which is totally different in New 2.
Yep. And you don't have riser iframes, and you don't have anything. You don't have the same kind of, so like you're built to like kip up every single time you hit the ground, but if you kip up, you also move into an attack that's it's a skill issue, right? All of my like technical mechanical problems with the game are 100% a skill issue.
Hold on, here's a skill issue. What is kip up?
When you hit the ground, you know how like you would like hit the ground and like roll?
Yeah.
You can press the dodge button, and instead of rolling, you like do a backflip back onto your feet, and it puts you into a different landing animation, but you don't stand up.
So, I learned something after 150 hours. Because now I also know what the ukemi art skill is useful for.
What the hell is an ukemi?
An ukemi, there's a skill you can get on a lot of pieces of your gear and talismans called ukemi art. It's very cheap. It's just like an activated skill. It is, you take reduced damage for about 15 seconds after getting thrown by a kimono, and thrown counts if they hit you and knock you somewhere. And so I think you're supposed to use that to kind of bounce back a little bit, and then that counts as being thrown. And so if you get hit again, you take half the damage of the next hit.
Huh.
So it's like a safety net skill. And I now know that. They don't explain fucking... Yeah,
they don't explain shit.
Yeah, so much stuff. Anyway, so first experiences were like, whoa, this is not Monster Hunter. It's different. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you before we keep going. How did you get your early copy? Did you actually like ask for it, or did someone just come out and reach for you?
Oh, so like a while ago, the power of Twitter is amazing. A while ago, one of the EA community managers posted like a Google form to fill out, and so I filled out that. Whether or not that is the channels in which they acted, I have no idea, because it looks like they acted in 3 different channels. Being that form, another CM reaching out to people individually, and then something else that I didn't know about, which I think was the EA partners, which they have a very limited partner program for those creators that are getting kickback. They have their like affiliate link, so you can buy the game through their affiliate link and they get a kickback for it. That's exclusive to their EA partners.
I got a 4th one for you.
Oh shit.
It's how I got my copy, which I didn't think would go anywhere. I reached out, like I was trying to figure out what the EA PR people were. Of course, I didn't use Twitter like a normal person. I fucking Googled it. And I went to the normal EA main page website and went down to the bottom to hit like contacts.
Brilliant.
And I found the PR EA contact, and I literally just emailed and just said, hey, I'm Fem. I really want to play Wild Hearts. I'm a big Monster Hunter fan. And I was like, this is just going to go nowhere. It's worth a shot, but I was like,
yeah,
nada. And then like 6 hours later, they emailed me back like, oh yeah, here, fill out this form. I was like, what the fuck? This actually works?
Yeah, dude. Like for once, a PR and community manager base like actually works.
Yeah, I was like, how is that a thing? Yeah, so
absolutely insane. I will say this though, the EA CMs, which there's apparently multiple of them. I've discovered 2 of them recently. Very communicative people, and very nice, very kind, very helpful people, right? And that's surprising to see in community managers, given what we as Monster Hunter creators have to go through with Capcom sometimes, and as Capcom creator programs members have to go through with CCP sometimes. So it was a nice change of pace to see that level of communication, because like I'm gonna be honest, like when you think like EA, you do think like big, like I think they are bigger, larger, more exclusive than Capcom,
right?
And they did
we're
not
so
treat
tiny
it like this at all,
and don't think that we're worthy of any time and stuff.
They didn't treat it like that at all. They were very like responsive, very respectable, very professional, communicative, and like wanting people to play their. Out of all the people that I heard ask for like a review copy or an early access copy, every single person that I know asked for one directly got one.
See, and now here's the thing. I wonder if that's actually how most community managers are, and maybe just, I know it's going to sound terrible, but maybe just Capcom and Monster Hunter are just the exceptions to that, and they're just like,
it's very possible, though. I've heard horror stories about Square Enix.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, like so Square Enix has a partner program, and their requirements for it are insane, like 125 CCV and like exclusivity to Square Enix games, and it's real bad.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's you could be Square Enix. But I mean, all that beside, like that I think made it even more exciting for us as creators to be like, hey, EA gave me a copy of the game, and that was super cool of them, and you know, we're Joe Schmo and whoever the fuck else, you feel a little
special. You're like, oh shit.
Exactly. I was super surprised too. I kind of feel I was a little upset too, because they reached out to me for like I don't know if you've seen it on social medias, but the jacket that people have been getting. They reached out to me about that. That was the DM that I missed a week ago, and I was pissed because like they were like, "Hey man, like, we want to send you like a care package, like fill out this form, but like you have to do it today." And like I didn't see it for a week. I was like, "Fuck."
I got
but
it.
I asked
the jacket's really nice.
I know, it looks so good. I don't have a jacket like that. I'd have been sick.
Yeah,
I've been rolling up in place with my wild hearts. Oh, they said they'd check to see if they had one more kit, but I'm not holding my breath on it.
Yeah, so it was a really nice launch. Like, so we're really like,
it was a good launch. It was a really good launch, and like that was the nice thing too, because I was seeing like a lot of Monster Hunter creators excited about this. I was seeing a lot of Monster Hunter creators like excited and willing to go into this game. So. And honestly enjoying it. I don't think like a single creator that like I talked to was like, this game is a bad game. Everyone of course had a lot of problems with performance, and some of us now more so than others.
Did your game get worse after the patch?
My game got I don't want to say worse, but just more noticeable drops.
Oh wow. So
like I now see more drops happening. But I think that's just because they said they did an optimization for higher end CPUs. Like that was the most recent patch, was like, hey, we fixed a limiting issue for higher end CPUs. I think that also removed a limit on lower end CPUs, which I don't say I have a lower end. I have a 3900X, a Ryzen 9 3900X, so it's a Gen 3 Ryzen 9. Like
that's pretty good.
It's a great CPU, but it's a couple years old now, and for what they are doing that for, they're doing that for like the 7900X. They limited the 7900X and the 11900 Intels, and so like I'm wondering if that actually harmed the performance on older or
it has
weaker
to, because
CPUs.
A lot of people have been complaining that it's either they saw no change or worse performance after the patch. And I think that's one of the things we really need to talk about is the game's performance, because clearly we like the game. How many hours did you put in the game?
I think about 80 right now.
That's a lot. So
it is a lot. And for me, I dedicate the majority of my time like streaming and playing games to speedrunning. For me, to cancel 2 weeks, I canceled 2 weeks of speedrunning. I haven't touched World in 2 weeks.
as well. Like,
I know SGDQ submissions open today, fam. I realized that, and I have a week. I have a week to derust this and to practice races and to do things. I have a week, and I was gonna fucking prep Wild Hearts too. That ain't happening.
Yeah, fair enough. So like clearly, like we like the game, but the biggest complaint out of literally everybody says is obviously the performance. The game runs poorly. Like it runs, but depending on who you ask, you're gonna get, oh, I can play at 60 frames. I can play at 12 frames. I can play without any pop-ins. I can play and then stuff renders, every 16 feet I see stuff. It's like, it's always something basically. So
yeah,
what has your experience with the performance of the game been like?
I'm in the group of people that got really lucky and the game runs really well for me. So like the biggest issues I've had, it was the day of the patch. I had one really big frame drop, like the entire game just like froze for a second and then came right back. And it was like me running from like one spot to another. So like it wasn't too terribly invasive. But I get frame drops every now and then now, and more so when I'm walking into areas with a lot of small creatures. I get a lot of frame staggers, and it's the same problem that we had with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Frame drops, frame staggers, render issues break your immersion. I was immersed, and I've been immersed, and I've been enjoying the game, and it's been fun. But then once that stuff starts happening, it pulls you out of the game. It reminds you that it is a game, and it harms your ability to enjoy it because your experience is constantly being interrupted. Like imagine watching a movie, but every 2 minutes it paused for 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like,
and then
no.
So my performance has been honestly largely good. I only really see a lot of like I don't get like stutters really. Like I guess occasionally, but not often enough that I can even remember it being a hindrance. I just get a lot of like performance drops when a weather effect hits, because there's only two weathers in the game, and it is minus 30 FPS rain and everything looks like a fucking like blur filter
blurry,
on.
Just it's
or
just
it's
static.
Or it's minus 30 FPS snow and you can't see shit because it looks like white noise. Like it is so heavy. You can't turn them down at all. Like we tried turning my particle effects down. Didn't help. Like you can't lessen the weather and it is so awful. And so like
it's invasive.
It really is invasive. Like I was like, I don't want weather.
Especially, I mean, I guess this is like spoilers, but especially at the end of the game,
where every map is raining, and you're like, "Why is this a fucking thing?"
Now I was gonna farm more equipment and stuff, and I did one hunt with it. I was like, "I'm ending the game. I'm finishing this now."
We did the same thing. We're like, "Is it really gonna be rain on every map?" They said it in the cutscene. We're like, "Really?" And so we went out and did a hunt, and we're like, "Ah, fuck this. Let's just wrap it up." It's bad.
Oh man.
And like. And I get it. Like a lot of PC ports have been really bad lately. Like it's becoming like a thing now. But it's like I get when people are frustrated because most people can't play the game, and it is a $70 title of a brand new IP. You really have to come out of the game swinging, come out of the gate swinging. And so that makes me think: do you think this was like they had to have known, right?
I don't know, right? It's hard to say, right? Because especially now we're seeing less and less and less of like consumer testing. I haven't like heard a lot from the people that test games nowadays. Like a couple of years ago, when a bad game would release, you'd hear the game testers going like, "Yeah, man, like we tested this game and like we saw a lot of these same issues like on release. Like it was a problem then, and it's a problem now." Maybe it's NDA stuff, and that's why they can't talk about it.
Well, I think that's NDA is probably the case when the game comes out. And then I think, well, also, the game industry, massive layoffs all the time. Maybe there just aren't QA people around. They do like the internal testing, and that's about it.
Who knows? But like this kind of like performance, because that's the hard thing too. Is like, who are you sending this stuff to test, right? Like, are you giving it to people that have high end PCs? Are you giving it to people that have low end PCs? Are you testing it on all of these things?
Console performance is also shit and a half too. Like,
I've heard PS5 plays like near flawlessly. But Xbox has a lot of issues. Yeah.
Oh.
I hear it's mostly on the Xbox side that there's a lot of issues, but the PS5, because like Sephiren's been posting like clip after clip, and I haven't heard any negativity from Seph. There might be like the same kind of problems with like pop in and frame drops every now and then, but like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are powerhouse consoles. Right. They are better than my streaming setup right now. Like, and my streaming setup was my old gaming setup, so it's like it's not like they are miniature $500 computers that would nowadays cost like $1,200 to make. Like they are affordable gaming PCs, but they're just consoles,
right?
With the Xbox logo slapped on the side. But I think if you're gonna like play a game like this, the best place to play it, if you do not have if you are not confident in your computer, I'm petting mine now, is on console, because console is standardized, right? A PS5 is a PS5 is a PS5. The only difference is like, hey, do you have an expanded SSD? Do you have like an external, whatever?
Right. There's no real hardware changes. So if it runs on one, it'll run on all of them.
Exactly. And so that's where they can very easily find big performance jumps when they can just take like a console and go like, okay, why are we having performance issues? It's like, oh, like we CPU limited the game from the PC port over to this, like, whoops. And then they fix that, ship it off, and the game runs flawlessly, right? OBS. Computer keeps staggering.
Computer said, you heard you talking about these consoles.
Yeah,
and shit.
I know, right? Yeah, stop doing that nonsense. But I that's like the problem with PC gaming nowadays, because I think about it this way too. We got new graphics cards last year. We're getting new graphics cards this year. We got new graphics cards 2 years ago. We're getting new graphics cards in 2 years. It's hard to build for what's coming out when the technology is constantly changing. Right. Because like the difference between the 3000 series and the 4000 series is not a number at the front of the card. There is huge leaps and bounds in technology right now, and I think that's the biggest hurdle that these developers are running into, is that there's so much technology that they have to cover now, because one does not operate like the other does not operate like the other, unfortunately. Right. And so sometimes you run into issues like this.
Between that, the different CPUs, RAM, memory issues, like every computer's different.
And come this year, come November, watch it. Radeon's gonna have their shit together, and we're gonna have another graphics card in the mix, and people are gonna have to now figure out how to make games run on Radeon.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would slow down just a little bit. Like,
not gonna.
I know.
Everything's getting smaller. Everything we can make it smaller. We can make it smaller, more silicone. More
except the 40 series, these things are like fucking this big.
Oh no, I'm talking about the CPU, man. The CPU technology. I don't know if you ever look into that stuff, but the whole thing is like apparently like they make cores smaller and put things closer together.
But I thought that we had an issue now for CPUs where we couldn't get anything smaller than 7 nanometers because then at that size, electrons can jump and fuck everything up, and that's why everyone wanted to get into quantum computing. Well, that's like the real problem with CPUs right now. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Because if we keep making things smaller, we're getting stuff down to an electron level, where literally 7 nanometers. But when you have like different circuits and stuff that are that small, apparently electrons can just jump over each other, and it fucks the whole thing up. So there has to be a little bit of a space gap, and that's why people want to get into quantum computing, where you can do stuff. I don't know how fucking quantum computing works, but it's apparently different. So I think we're getting into a hard wall on the CPUs with how small we can go. But I feel like honestly it'd be easier to make CPUs like bigger now. We get everything down to 7 nanometers and make bigger CPUs. So it's like those big server chips.
Yeah. But Fem, I want a smaller computer.
I have tiny computers. That's all I build. I build tiny PCs. Like, these things are fucking lunchboxes. I love these things. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully they get it taken care of. They have many times, you know, like credit where credit is due. They have multiple times said, we know there are issues and we're currently working on them. Here's a patch for Radeon graphics cards and for high-end performing CPUs that are being limited. We've addressed some of these quick fixes, but we're working on more.
Right, and unfortunately, I don't think I've seen anything since they've dropped the patch about like what they're planning on next. No, so hopefully they do know that
there's
something.
There's a meeting right now in Tokyo, for the team. So that's probably like because one of the CMs had tweeted about going to it to talk about the next free title update.
So here's the thing about that, because I have so much I want to talk about Wild Hearts, but the next title update, according to what they have posted on like the roadmap and on everything you can find, it is 2 monsters. We're gonna have a deeply volatile lava back, which everyone's gonna love, and then we're gonna have a new variant of Deathstalker. So, here's the things: deeply volatiles don't have new weapons and armor. They're just a different way to get different talismans. And I love the deeply volatile fights. They're all really good.
And layered armors. Come on, Fem. Fashion hunting.
Not deeply volatile. Not layered.
Oh no. Well, there's no volatile lava back in the game right now. You can't get. Is there?
There's
is it whatever's past it? Is there?
Yep.
Oh, someone was telling me that there's not. That the item to get the layered for lava back and forward. The magical orb just doesn't drop.
People are stupid. There's a volatile of every monster. Even Tiger and Ember Plume did those. Even Amaterasu, all that stuff. But anyway, so deeply volatiles don't have anything.
It's just talisman farm.
It's just talisman farming. But that does give us a new pool of talismans, which I'm curious to see. I have a video coming out about talismans. I know everything about talismans, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, and then we're going to get a Deathstalker variant. Now, the variant will have a new set of armor and a new weapon. And that concerns me because...
Oh, where the fuck do they put it?
Right. The new armor, obviously, they could just fucking tack it on. And that's whatever. But the weapon, depending on where it goes on the tree, it is going to depend on a lot. So, like, if they move it below the dragon, and it's now, like, the next tier of equipment, and it has higher raw, with the way the game is right now... Everybody would have to use it. That would be like just the new go-to weapon. And I think
what they're going to do, I don't think they're going to go down. If they go down, it's going to be a new tier of monster, right? Where like we had like normals, mighties.
But is it? Because
I think it's going to go on the side. I think it's going to be a new branching tree. It's going to come off of one of the other ones, and it's going to go off to the side. So we're going to get not just that new weapon, but also previous like upgrades in that tree as well. Like we're gonna get a new branch entirely, and then it's gonna come back, and then it'll either come back to the existing like end the final dragon weapons, or it will get a new one. Like we'll have like a new sub build for the dragon weapon.
That would be cool.
I'm thinking that would be the best way to do it, because that expands more onto their system, and it gives you not just like one new weapon like we're used to in Monster Hunter, but new options for inherited skills.
Right.
I think that's the best way to implement that.
So, because here's the things I wanted to talk about with this update. So that's the only thing they have listed that's coming into this update. And if that's all it is, I'm going to be really, really disappointed, because one new weapon and an armor set isn't going to keep people playing the game.
No, it absolutely isn't.
So, like, I've been trying to say, like, I want them to change what they currently have rather than do this update with, like, do the monster updates later, fix the game first. So, yeah. I really hope with this, like, content drop that they're going to add, it's not just what they have said, and it's just going to be like adding these few monsters. I really want them to fix the performance issues of the game and tighten some things up. There's a lot of localization issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Allergies, man.
Oh, it's the worst.
But yeah, so like I'm really nervous. I really hope this next patch, like, also like it's just not just what they say. And that's why I really want like deep patch notes and stuff, because it's like, if all they're doing is these two monsters, and like the game is gonna like die immediately because people are waiting for the performance to get fixed, and it's like, if it doesn't, who's gonna give it a chance to even try the new monsters? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So I know they're doing like a big meeting about it. I really hope they come out with some like news about like, hey, we're gonna like shuffle things off. We're gonna postpone this like one more month before we add content. We'll fix what we got. Like, so I really
that
hope
would be
they go
smart
that way.
That would be a good use of a delay. It's unfortunate because it does kind of like ruin their launch, you know, like, because like that's like the thing is like the game is so 50-50 right now. It's either you can run it or you can't. And if you can run it, you enjoy it. And if you can't, you obviously can't play it. So you hate it. So you go review bomb it on Steam. So like, it's such a throw up right now of like, you know, did the game have a good launch, right? If you ask me, I think it had a great launch. I enjoyed it. The people that I talked to enjoyed it. Everyone that I've talked to has been able to play it outside of like 2 people. You know, people in my community are playing it and enjoying it, but just having problems and waiting for patches too. So it's like, yeah, 6 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say I have to be like a hard 50, like 50 out of 100, 5 out of 10.
50-50, yeah.
It's like, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, I want to throw it. Just like, so let's talk about, let's do this. Let's talk about one good thing and then one bad thing, and we'll just go back and forth. Same topic though. One good thing, one bad thing. So let's start with just like weapons. So what's your weapon? What's one good thing and what's one bad thing about it?
Oh my gosh.
Just one. I know.
Well, no, because like, I don't know. I don't find like a problem with the weapons inherently. So I think I only have like good things to say about the weapons, because like all like the air quotes, like the problems that I have mostly come from, oh, actually, no, maybe I do have a problem. Okay. Do you ever get input drops? All right, hold on. Let me start with my good thing. I'm getting ahead of myself. Weapon design in this game is top tier. Like,
all the weapons are really cool. They nailed it.
All the weapons are really cool. All the weapons are very uniquely distinct in their own way. I never picked up a weapon and I was like, this feels like Monster Hunter. Even the Nodachi, the simplest fucking thing, the simplest greatsword weapon, charge up, hit big number, functions fundamentally different from that of Monster Hunter. So it feels like an entirely different video game. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weapon design. You ever get input drops when you're trying to do combos and you just stand perfectly fucking still with the Karakuri staff and you're wondering, why am I just morphing over and over and over again and not actually doing my combo? So I do.
So I obviously I don't play melee, I play range, but for bow, we have to. The bow's so weird because like
the bow's so weird.
We have 2 stances. We have vertical and horizontal and vertical. It's just that, and then you have to charge 1, charge 2, bolster each one, and kind of rotate them and go between them. And so I try to do it fast. I try to like bolster and then rotate, and then bolster and then rotate back so I can detonate. But then like the game will just be like bolster, or just like he just does this and rotates them. I'm like, just stop it! Like, I just want to do it quicker.
Thing right.
Yeah. And so a lot of the times in my gameplay with bow, you'll just see me like going like this a couple of times, and I'm like, just come on, just land on the one I want, and it doesn't work. So same issue, different weapon.
It's the same thing, yeah. Because like Karakuri staff will happen too, because like all your combos are square and R2, and depending on like which animation you're in, Karakuri staff is a lot of fun, but it takes a lot of getting used to, because you have to hit square a certain number of times depending on your animation to reach the transform, like the mutation combo, and then you mutate, and then it builds up a part of your mutation gauge, right? So you have to really know the combos. Sometimes if you miss a square input, you don't get the mutation timing right, and then you just stand there mutating, because like the next couple of combos is just R2 R2 R2. That's the mutation button, right? But then you'll just stand there and you'll just transform the weapon and do no damage, and you're just like, what's happening to me? And then Lava Back punches you in the face and you're like, this game's frustrating.
Okay so that's that. So let me go back to my good thing and bad thing about weapon then. So gunner, I love the cannon. I thought it's a unique take on a ranged weapon. It is very cool. It's got a big ass laser. What's not to love, right?
Big laser. That's cool. A big laser and like a mortar like shot.
Yeah, like it's got everything. It's got standard shooting. It's got a mortar. It's got a big fat laser. So it's like, it's got all the good, checks all the boxes. Yeah. The problem is, I think they took a little too much inspiration from Monster Hunter, because critical distance and the range of these ranged weapons are shit. Like,
damn.
The mortar distance is literally like 8 feet in front of you. Like, you can't shoot it further. And so like, and this thing's got the slowest fucking walk speed and roll speed. So like, if a monsters move a ton in this game.
A ton.
So like, if you're not in a mortar range, you have to like pick up your weapon and either sheath it and run to the monster and then bring it back out and then try to get your mortar, or wait for it to come back to you. But the way they designed the weapon is that it's all based around managing heat. So if you're not in mortar range, and you have your
gun
heat,
lance.
yeah, but like you build up heat, but then the heat dissipates if you don't use your thing, and your whole thing is using the heat to discharge your mortar to pick up the laser. But then it's like, but I can't reach the monster, then I have to run to the monster, and by the time I can reach it, the heat's gone down, then I have to shoot again, and then it's just like, it's so annoying to use that weapon.
Then just put down the spring and get closer that way, and don't sheath your weapon. I don't know, does that work?
Well, the spring animation is really good at building heat. I love the spring, but it's got such a fucking long recovery time after shooting. Like, you shoot, and then you get like knocked back. Shoot. You can't. Like,
just use the spring to move.
Just to move forward? Oh, no, yeah. So,
yeah.
I can use the spring to move forward. That's fine, but I mean, yeah, I just don't want to.
Is it a skill issue?
Kinda. I guess it is kinda.
No, but like, yeah, like sometimes it's just like me, like dropping inputs. Yeah, it's a fucking skill issue, dude.
I have a problem using my Karakuri because I wish I had 2 more. Your limit is 24, and that is exactly enough to place 2 traps or like. Or a trap and a harpoon or something like that. So I like to have both of those. And so I don't like having non-divisible by 12 numbers. So I really wish I had 25 or 26 so I can make a box or a spring without worrying about that I can't use the other stuff. Because obviously you build up threads when you attack monsters. But for the ranged weapons, especially cannon, you don't attack them very often. So you don't actually get a whole lot of thread back. So like I'm really stingy on my thread.
What's the skill? Like, there's one that, like, there's a chance that you don't consume thread when you make Karakuri.
Let's talk about fucking localization. Blade to bar? What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Like a 4, like I have it on a Talisman's like a 3% chance that I don't consume thread when I place it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
3% chance.
Have you seen my my build on that?
No, I haven't.
I stacked as much as I could. Actually, it's better than when I made my build because I can actually talisman farm now and I know what I'm doing. I have it up to 80%.
And does it work?
It works pretty well. It works pretty well. So the little the automatic artillery costs 8. You can usually only build about 4, and with decent I guess spare shot chance for that thing, I can put up like 7.
Oh.
And with my same 24 thread. So I'm just walking around just putting down fucking artilleries all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Those. I like it. So me and Lord Vitner were doing like Ember Plume and stuff. And all I did was sit back and like drop harpoons the entire hunt. And the Ember Plume didn't get to move. Like he kept trying to run. It's just like, nope, harpoon, harpoon, harpoon. It was really fun. But anyway, so I forget where we were going with that, but
that was good and bad for our weapons.
For weapon. Okay, so good and bad weapons. All right, let's talk about the world itself. Let's start with you.
Yeah. Okay. It's a beautiful game, and I love the design of everything. Like, it's stunning. It's stunning to look at, you know, and it did a world design really, really well, because you obviously, like, just like Monster Hunter, you obviously have hallways and rooms. And, you know, monsters fight in rooms and they transition through hallways. And the game is designed so well that those are seamless. In Monster Hunter, it's very obvious in Monster Hunter, because you have like a big fucking circle and then like hallways going off of them. Like, it's super obvious. This game is built brilliantly, because like an entire area can be a hallway still, because it's just a bunch of paths that are crossing over each other, but it doesn't look like it, you know? Or like an area is a room, but it doesn't feel like that because it's big and wide and open, you know? Like the top of the plateau in Haragasumi Way.
Okay, Haragasumi Way. Okay. Yeah, the meadow, like, the top meadow.
Yeah, the whole meadow. Yeah. That's all like that there's only one room in there. And it's a very small portion of it. Monsters only fight in a small portion of it, but it doesn't feel like it because it's so big and it's so well designed. The world is so well designed. However, why can we not make flat fucking ground? Why does everything have to have collisions and ledges and elevation changes? I will try to dodge something and I'll roll, but because I rolled over the smallest pebble, it counted as a ledge, and I jump off the ledge, and then I get smacked by the monster, and my entire roll is gone. And I'm just like, okay, I have to remember that pebble exists.
And then on top of that, with the collision and stuff, trying to build Karakuri, because nothing is fucking level, you're like, here's the thing. It's annoying because like you'll place like the first 3 in like a 6th thing, and then it's like you can't build here. I'm like, fucking, why'd you even let me start?
Go to the left.
Yeah, just automatically go to the left. That's the thing about. We'll talk about Karakuri in a minute, but yeah, it's like the terrain in the game gets in its way so much.
So often. And I thought it was bad in Monster Hunter. It can get really bad in this game too. I had a King Tusk that I was fighting at the fort. I know most of the names. I can't say that one. Fuyu something or other. But at the fort, and it was in the town area, and it was inside of the buildings. What do I do? I stood there and waited. Oh, and I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but the Tsukumo that they give you, yeah, I named him Worst Palico. He fucking sucks. He is the worst.
He's pretty bad. He doesn't do anything except get in the way most of the time.
Oh, he heals me because I'm bad at the game. He will attract attention and then run to the other side of the universe.
Yeah, he's giving you time to heal, man.
Homie, I put down a chain trap on the ground and you left.
Yeah, he's the only reason why I still use him. One, like if you upgrade his assist form, his heals are fucking huge.
Oh, they're amazing.
They're great. And then the threader form, he drops a lot of thread for you all the time. So like for my Karakuri spam build, it's great because he's just feeding me, and I love it. But outside of that, I don't think he does anything useful other than just like help.
Does a shit ton of damage. If you level his attack, he does a shit ton of damage.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do attack for him. How much does he do?
Well, because so like at level 10 attack form, he'll be attacking things. Like let's just say like a mighty monster, he'll be attacking and doing like 35, 40 damage each hit.
Oh.
And like 10 or 12 hits at a time.
Oh shit.
It's not insignificant given the amount of health that these have. It's insignificant for like, you know, one shot or surprise builds or stuff like that, right? But like if you are like actually like progressing through the game and want just like additional help, that boy at level 10 attack is doing some work.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tsukumo only speedruns when.
I was gonna say, I wonder if I can get like a Tsukumo only, but it's like, how do you support your Tsukumo?
Who knows, man? I wonder if
you just let him do shit.
No, yeah, there's like no skills in the game that like buff everyone around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no hunting horn. Tragic.
Dude, so I know. Well, let's stop. We're really good because you said that. I'm gonna stop this good and bad. I know. I just get sidetracked.
You can't do it.
So I would love for them to do a new weapon, but it conflicts with the bow that we already have. But Dauntless had this great idea for a weapon that they never did, and I want to see it. And it's their musical instrument, which is the harp bow. So it's a big harp, and you play notes by pulling arrows on different strings, and that's how you do your songs.
That's kind of wild.
I was like, I want that.
But that'd be cool. It reminds me of Final Fantasy 14 Bard, because they're arrow, like they're a archer class, but also playing music while they do it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's funny. I think Bard in Ragnarok Online was the same way. But anyway, yeah, it's just every time someone brings up like, what do you want to see for a new weapon? I'm like, I want a harp bow. And I'm like, but we already have bow, so that's never gonna happen. So
the harm
bow.
It's just harp, but with an M in there, harm with a P at the end. The harm.
The harp.
That's awful.
It does. It sounds very derogative. The harm.
I'm sorry, I just said a slur on your podcast. I can't believe it.
All right, so going back to one good, one bad. So let's talk about. Well, actually, I didn't do my map thing.
Yeah, you need to do your one good, one bad for the environment. You can't back off. You can't piggyback on my good though. You have to come up with a different one.
So I love Dragon Karakuri on the maps. That's all the map placeables. Being able to put down usable fast travel tents anywhere you want.
Literally anywhere.
And then start your quest from them wherever you want. And they alphabetize it every time you change your camps around. So that's cool. And then having all the zip lines and slingers and like wind jets and all the stuff that you can do to manipulate the map is awesome. And it's permanent. It's always permanent. I love that shit. It is the best feature I've ever seen in this game. Like
in a video game, period. Just like being able to base build wherever is super cool.
Yeah, what game has like different maps? It's not like an open world. There's different maps, but retains all the information for all the maps on, you know, quitting, losing the map, loading it out, whatever. Everything stays there.
Everything.
I'm gonna do
insane. It's so cool.
2 bads for this one.
2 bads? Oh man.
One is well, they're 2 small bads. So one is I would love for them to give us a option or a button to delete all the Karakuri on the map. Because
all or just basic?
I mean, if you have an option for basic Karakuri and Dragon Karakuri, great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Basic Karakuri, the map gets littered with failed crafts and like springs and torches all over the place. And it's really annoying to accidentally walk in front of a torch to fucking draw your weapon. That's awful. And then same for Dragon Karakuri. Sometimes you just build like a flying vine to just go chase a monster really quick. But you don't necessarily always want that there. The only way to like destroy stuff is actually to go out to each of the spots on the map and go break it down manually. Oh god, fucking allergy, sorry. So you have to like go to each of the items on the map and like break it yourself. And that takes forever. If we could just like click on the map and hit destroy all Karakuri, that'd make things so much easier. Because I want to like redo all my maps to be like more optimal setups. I just don't want to go around and destroy everything first because that's going to take forever.
Dude, Dave was doing that on stream the other day, and I was watching him, and he was just going through each map, deleting everything, and then resetting stuff up, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, they need to do that for sure.
It's too much.
That's like one little feature that would make the game 100% better. Like, so much better.
Yeah.
And then my other issue with the map, I forgot what it was because I got really sidetracked with this one. Hold on. I had one other small little thing.
Did it come up with it? Who knows? Do. Damn, dude, he's putting that one fold to work.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I'll think of it.
You're gonna remember it. Yeah. Like the moment we start the next topic, you're gonna remember it and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, that's my complaint. I love the crafting. Okay. I really wish there was a way to destroy the crafting.
Yeah.
Sorry. I remembered it.
Let's go.
The dragon. It's the same like line. The Dragon Karakuri on the maps is cool, but for whatever reason, they just fuck up a lot of the times. Like the flying vines won't be in the spot where you shoot them. Or like I've seen them like one of mine broke while I was riding it. I was just like, how does this happen? And it just fell off.
Because a monster ran into it. It's awful.
Oh, really?
Or it like So like when monsters walk past flying vine lines, they just break. Like they will just break. Something that's funny though is that they do act like boxes in their path when they're attacking though. So like if you put a flying vine like low overhead in an area and a monster's like running at you, they'll bonk into that instead of like hitting you. It's really funny. But yeah, because like I'll do that too. To piggyback on it, there's a super dumb monster AI thing when you unlock the second flying vine, because they're like, hey, it does increased damage to monsters when you shoot them.
35.
And I'm like, hey, that's super cool. So you shoot the monster in an area and then you start riding the vine to them, and the monster will run to the edge of the area where they spawned at to reset their AI because you interacted with them, and they run far enough away and it breaks your flying vine and you fall off of it, and it bothers me.
Oh yeah, that's super dumb. Well, I've noticed that they have a lot of anti-cheese for range attacks in this game, where if you hit them out of, if they can't hit you back, they will just dick off and run, and you're like, okay, cool. All right, I guess I won't do that.
Yep. Yeah. No, but it's really noticeable on the Frozen Fort place. Top left of the map, there's an area called Permafrost Lake. I put up a camp right there because I like to fight Deathstalker a lot. And so I have a flying vine that's right there. And if you have a Deathstalker that's in that area and you hit the Deathstalker, it runs all the way to the far end of the lake every single time without fail. And it's just out of range of the flying vine. So you'll get to it, it'll break, you just fall on the ground. You're like, well, fuck.
And now you gotta run.
Yeah.
That's annoying. All right. So
silly.
One good thing about the monsters themselves.
I won't say design. I won't say design.
I'm not gonna say design because like the small monsters are better than the large monsters. I love the fucking small monsters in this game.
The small monsters are a lot more subtle. I agree with that, right? They're like less, because like I look at it as like a mutation, right? They've been like mutated by nature. So the small monsters are like really subtle. It's like a fox with like little flowers on his peats. Love it.
The crab with the fucking skull on his back are fucking terrifying.
That bitch sucks. I hate him so much. The monsters though, I like that most of them have really well developed fights. Deathstalker has the best fight in the game.
I like Golden Tempest.
Golden Tempest has one of the best fights in the game. King Tusk is one of the best fights in the game. Notice I'm making note of a lot of very large monsters because the smaller they are, the more they suck. But the fights themselves are very much like Dark Souls, and so the monsters, they fight like they're a Dark Souls boss, like very deliberate. Some of them have really good tells, some of them don't, and they're iframeable. You know, you already have all the tools to deal with it. It's now just execution, you know. And so that makes the monsters like themselves and their fights a lot of fun. And then there's Sportail.
Where's like,
small monster.
I'm gonna spawn
AI.
17 rats. Get fucked.
I can't handle small monsters. Small monsters in the game, their small monster aggro is the worst in any game that I've ever seen, ever.
They are so much worse than Monster Hunter games.
It is laughably like worse, because so Karakuri Staff is what I mained the moment I unlocked it, because I loved the mechanic of it and the fact that you get a gigantic sword that does like 3k damage and big number make brain go happy.
Yeah.
If you get touched during that animation, it stops.
Yep.
Entirely.
Welcome
and
to my world.
There's three hits to it. And it's awful.
It's me and
because you have like, yeah, if you get touched during it, it stops. And the most aggravating thing is the monster being in a chain trap or downed because you did enough damage. Congratulations, here's your reward. And a small monster walking up and tickling your ankle, and you just stop doing the attack entirely. And you're like, well, there goes my entire DPS combo. Now to do small numbers again until I can do big number.
Dude, and also, these small monsters, they hurt. They do good chunks of their life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they're so aggressive because there's an infinite aggro radius. Like once you're in like the combat zone, all of them, like you'll get like 4 monsters that just beeline it to you and just harass you until you deal with them. And it's like, I don't want. Let me fight the big monster. Why don't you guys run away like the other small monsters? Like, no.
It's smart. It would be a lot smarter to do that. Or like if you're changes to AI that I wish they would do. If you are fighting a large monster, small monsters do not interact with you. If you slay a small monster, the rest of them run away. Like,
that would be great.
That would be awesome.
And having the rest run would be awesome. But also,
would be great.
Why can't the large monsters kill the small monsters?
Kill them.
Because they do so much AoE, they don't hurt the small monsters. So, like, just turn on friendly fire for them. Just do that.
Yep. Absolutely should. Yep. And then that way, they're still there. They can still bother you, but then the large monster will eventually take care of them, and it's not as much of a problem the entire time.
Right.
But that's like a game decision that is, one, entirely unpredictable, which is bad for a game that is like a Souls-like design. And I keep saying that because like the game is very much designed for you to be able to read the opponent and react to it. It's not like Monster Hunter where you can more or less disengage entirely from a fight and just do the same thing over and over again. Like there is a point in which in Monster Hunter where you do not have to pay attention to what the monster is doing anymore, and you can just completely lock it down, just doing the normal things. Mm-hmm. In this game, they don't let you do that. You know, we don't have that ability. They don't stop moving. They don't stop doing anything. And that's part of the design, right? Is that you're instigated to use Fusion Karakuri and basic Karakuri to stop these monsters from interacting with you. Or you get really good at reading their openings and their attacks so you can take advantage of them. Tet Stalker is the best fight in the game. They need to take out small monsters because that ruins that ability entirely. Mm-hmm. Imagine fighting Dancer in Dark Souls 3, but the entire time there is the small gremlins in the caves from Elden Ring chasing you around trying to stab you with sticks. Imagine that fight. That's all Wild Hearts 100% of the time.
That's pretty accurate,
You're trying to fight Golden Tempest, which is arguably just an AoE fest like Dancer is. You're trying to fight that, but instead this small green gecko is going to run up and bite you in the taint every 4 seconds.
Yep. All right, yeah.
I lost like 4 fully charged judgment blades in one fight to that green little dickhead. So for the next like 6 times I fought Golden Tempest, every time I walked into the area, I would kill the lizard and then go and fight Golden Tempest.
And I know it's such a minor complaint because that's all everyone says. Why don't you just kill the monster or kill the small ones before you engage a big one? Like, I can.
It's tedious. It's aggravating.
It's like I can, but it's like I feel like I shouldn't have to. Like, why should I have to clear out the zone before I engage the boss every time? Because they're
especially when we can finish these fights in like a minute and a half.
Well, let me get to my bad.
So tedious.
So
yeah.
So I honestly love the monster fights in the game too. I guess one of my other big pros to them besides the fight is the. I guess it's gonna sound like not a good, but the breakables. I love the breakables in this game because
no, it's
a lot more than just Monster Hunter breakables. Not only can you break a lot of parts on monsters, and they get staggers and they get topples, and you can sever tails, and you can break claws and feet and backs and all sorts of stuff. But then you can open up wounds to do like your hunter arm thing to cause a stagger, like get fucking double your thread. Like there's a lot you could do on the monsters, and even though I don't like the mounting system, I use it more often now. It's fine. It's whatever. But there's a lot you can do to the monster, which is cool. So that's awesome. I love that. But I hate the monsters. I'm gonna do another two small bads. Sorry.
Damn, man, he keeps doing this.
Well, because I think about it.
Breaking your own rule.
I know. But they're tiny. They're not like big.
Okay.
But that's the game. That's the game. It's a lot of good stuff and then like just a lot of little bad stuff.
Yeah.
So the one bad is the hit zones. Every monster has 2 weak hit zones. It's the head and the tail every time, except they don't have the tail in case of lava back, which means you don't have a weak spot because you can't hit his head anyway. So that's kind of annoying. And trying to hit those hit zones, they magnet to everything else but the weak spots. It's really hard to hit anything consistently, and I hate that. They really got to fix that. Small complaint, because I don't think it matters that much, to be honest, but it does.
Yeah, it's really hard for a game like this too, given just like how much the monster moves and how much we do interact with the monster while it's still moving. And given like I even know for Karakuri staff, like my hitboxes are huge, even for the normal mutation combo. It's not like there's only a handful of attacks that I'm like, okay, I can hit this on a spot, and then there's another handful of attacks that are like, this hits. That's all it needs to do.
Yeah. That's the same with like bow and cannon. I'm like, I don't try to. I guess I try to aim for the general area around the weak spot, but it's like just it'll hit.
Yeah, like seeing some of your bow clips where you do the sticky volley, and you're just like, this is in the general vicinity of the head, and then you hit it, and like half the numbers are yellow and the other half are gray.
yeah. So like, I had to give up trying to be like precise in that game because like it's just the hit detection is just not the greatest.
Yeah, it really isn't.
So small complaint, and then the other small complaint, which actually is the large complaint, is monster AI when transitioning, because that's one of those things that they have to change in the game, or people are just gonna be too frustrated. Because the way monsters zone, like let's talk about Monster Hunter first. Monsters transition on two different principles in Monster Hunter. They have a timed transition where after about 2.5 minutes into a zone, they fuck off. And then the other one is when they need a limp in Runaway. Wild Hearts,
less than 30% health.
Yeah, it's really low. Wild Hearts is like, every 20% damage you do, I'm going to leave, regardless. Yep. So,
regardless,
you fight a monster for like 30 seconds, and he's like, I'm going to run halfway across the map now. And then you get there, and you're like, oh, hold on, you did 40% of my damage in that 30 seconds. Now that I'm here, and you're here, I'm going to go back. And you're like, why? So, like, a lot of the times, especially when you get in post-game, and you just want to farm, you end up having to chase a monster more than you do fighting it. And it's just like, it gets so old. Because like, they're really hard to stop. Because they do the same thing that like Iceborne and Rise monsters do, where they start to limp, and then they fucking rocket off after about 4 seconds. And you're like, all right, see ya, I guess. So like, if you don't stop them immediately and keep stopping them, they're gone. They're gone. And
their pathing out of zones is really unpredictable too. So it's not like you can like preemptively put a train trap down at like the entrance to the zone because you think it's going to go that way, because it will just go the other direction, or it'll walk around it. Like pathing is
really weird. Yeah, because like they have to, especially for the trap, they have to physically have their body in the middle of the trap. They can walk like right over it and they won't trigger it. It's super weird.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, like every zone has multiple ways that they will come and go, and it's totally random. So yeah, trying to predict those is really difficult. Yeah. So that would be the things that I really don't like about the monsters. And that one I really want to see changed.
If they put the time-based transition in there, like it could transition after 2.5 minutes. Like that would be ideal, you know, like either 2.5 minutes or 20% health remaining, not you did 20% of its health, you know. And then like at that point too, like you actually get to fight the fight, get to enjoy the fight. Because like I had a monster transition 3 times. I did 1 Judgment Blade fully charged 4k damage. It was like 100 damage short of dying, and I missed my like last level 4 mutation like Judgment Blade, just trying to tap it to kill it, and I missed it, and I was like, fuck. I chased it from one end of the map to the other, and then back somewhere else. I was like,
that was me in a Death Stalker on the Ice Fort. So I fought it down at the lake, and I almost killed it. It limped off, and then it ran all the way to the top of the fort and chased it all the way to there. And then as soon as I got there, he ran back down to the lake, and I'm like, why? Like I chased it for like 3.5 minutes. I was just like,
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that like, does it hurt? Like, does it hurt your ability to play the game? No. Does it hurt your enjoyment of the game? Absolutely, because you just wasted all of that time doing absolutely nothing but running in that game, or setting up flying vines and zip lines and trying to just navigate the world.
Well, and the thing about that too is that it puts you in a less than stellar mood, because you're like, okay, great, I fucked up my last big hit, and then I have to go and chase this thing down, and then as you're running towards
on it,
yeah, and you hit it for 1 damage, and you're like. But it's like
the Tsukumo runs up and flicks it.
Yeah, I've literally hit something for 1 out of crit distance and killed it, and I was like, I fucking hate this game. But it's like, because the entire time that you're chasing your monster down, you're like, fuck, I have to just chase this monster, and then as you're doing that, you're just noticing all the little things that are annoying you too. Like, why is it snowing? Why can't I see shit? It's so goddamn blurry. Why isn't my karakuri crafting working? Like, where is all the rocks that I can get more thread? Every little thing starts to stack up because you're just like, fuck. Every time.
That's so true, though. It's like the smallest, like it
snowballs so hard.
It literally, it does. And I think that's like, because you're saying, like, I think that's the reason why I keep coming back to the game, because like I want to play more of it, because the things that it does well, it does really, really well. But the small minutia of things that are aggravating builds up when something that's done well doesn't work.
And then you finally kill the monster and you're like, yay!
Yeah, I did it. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
I was doing, because I was farming lava back like one of the last times that I streamed, and I hate that fucking creature, but I was getting to a point to where I could like trap it, hit it once, it would transition, trap it, hit it again, it was dead, right? Like I was getting to that point. It felt really good. And I did that like 3 times in a row. Then the 4th time that I went and fought, a chain trap didn't deploy once because of the unlevel ground and you can't place a trap here. So I had to move slightly to the right, and then I got punched. I died 3 times in a row just trying to like get back into that fight. And I was like,
yeah.
Am I bad?
No, that's me.
What happened?
Same thing. Every time if I die once or something fucks up, it snowballs downhill. And like that's me when I was fighting Death Stalker with like Cannon. It's like I'm doing great, I'm killing him, and then like he gets to his zone and it starts the fight, and then he just fucking destroys me and I die. I'm like, okay, I'll come back and do this. And then he fucking wombo combos me again. And I'm like, why? And then I die again and I lost the hunt. I'm like, okay.
But like that's the Dark Souls mentality of the game, right? Because like it really is incredibly punishing off of a single mistake, and they want it. I think they want it to be there because I mean it's Tokiden. It's the same kind of aspect of an incredibly difficult fight, or I don't even want to call it difficult. It's punishable, right? All the fights in the game are very punishable. So if you make a mistake, it does not end well for you.
Because I don't think any of the fights are all that hard. Once you learn like a couple of their combos and stuff, you're like, oh, I could just iframe through everything. I know how to stop all their attacks with a wall. It's just, if you get hit, you're like, how the fuck do I get back into this? Because they don't stop. And you're like, I have to heal or I'll die again. I have to get away from his attacks. I have to find the right spot. And it's up to you. And if you get hit, it's hard. It's
downhill from there. Especially even when you have like a full build. I was doing a full like comfort build, human modification, like comfort build, like something designed to keep me alive, and I'm still getting hit for half my health. I'm like, I might as well just go back to desperation. And I went back to desperation. Sure enough, half my health, no matter what. It doesn't matter.
So let's segue into good and bad about the armor and skills systems of the game. Let's go with, you can have up to 2 of each.
I mean, I can do one.
Okay.
I can do one of each.
Okay.
Because let's just blanket it right now. The art design of the game for everything is flawless.
Love it.
Done. No matter what, like if you can look at it visually, everything looks good. Like everything looks really, really nice, well designed, very immersive, very much that aspect of feudal Japan and Eastern architecture, Eastern design, all that stuff, everything. So we've got that out of the way. The game looks pretty, so we'll never have to say that again. I love how they do skills in the game, especially inherent skills on weapons. I think that's such a cool kind of mechanic to build your own weapon with these unique modifications to encompass your build, right? I love that, and I love like being able to have multiple of a weapon, but different inherent paths. Skills. Different paths and different inherent skills on them to create something different. And I like the complexity of like the build tree, because like it doesn't make you think about like Monster Hunter is legitimately just like trees all the way to the end done. This makes you think about like, what are the different paths that I can take? Like, how can I get to these things, and how can I go around, and what different things do I have to fight? Because I have to fight a lot to do it. Like there is a good amount of farming to be done in it. And like, I think that is a good system for the weapon. And I think it's an okay system the way they did the armor. The armor, once again, the skill system is still very cool. It's just very limited right now. There's not a lot. And when you start looking at like the viable end game equipment, it's like everything from Amaterasu forward.
Yeah.
Anything pre Amaterasu you can't really use because it gives like 30 defense, and even like Amaterasu like gives like 46, and then when you augment it, it's like 55. And that's still not nearly enough.
Right.
You know, like you're still squishy, and I really like the Ama pants. Like I really like the Ama pants, and everything else like after that is like around like 45 to 63, depending on the modification defense, and then, you know, random attributes everywhere else. So there's not like a lot of like build options. That's like one of my biggest complaints about the armor and equipment right now. Because I even tried to like make a staff build that was based on using the basic Katakuri to bring out Judgment Blade. Instead of doing your big hit where you have to stop the monster entirely, you can do your half of a big hit and still get like a number that's like 1,500 to 2,000. And it comes out a lot quicker, and you can do a lot more of those during a fight.
So what went wrong with that?
Not nearly as good as just placing down a chain trap and hitting the Judgment Blade for 5k.
Would there be skills or something that you can get to make that better? Or is it one of those things where it's like, whatever I do with this build, it's just going to be better on this style?
And I think that's like where we're at with the game is what I need to do is just go through and craft everything so I can start playing around it. Because I tried it first with human modification to try Verve. Verve is peak performance in this game. You know, if you have full health, you get a bonus to attack and defense, which is pretty cool. Because I wanted to try human mod build. Like everything's, you know, usually kimono mod. And that's where you get your good skills like Deaf Ears and Sprint Master and Desperation. Yeah, like it's all super good. But I wanted to try like Verve. I'm like, well, this could be like a good, you know, additional damage just at full health. And like, since I'm always going to be disengaging, I can heal up and then spring back in or box back in and then do the Judgment Blade from the spring of the box, because I was trying to build it with Katakuri Coordination Fury to get the damage buff after using a basic Katakuri. And there's another one, Sleight of Hand Fury. It's anytime you build a Katakuri, you also get that buff. So there's one when you build it and one when you use it. So if you build and use it, you get both.
Right.
But the bonuses are so small, like it's a 4%, 4%, and a 6%, and a 6%, and that's it.
Right.
So that's what you get.
That was going to become my complaint too, is that the armors feel insignificant because everything on them, and even like some of like your talismans and stuff too, the skills are so tiny. Like, yeah, I could do all this and get what 20% more damage on this entirely different playstyle, but it's like it's not enough when you're hitting for like 30. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
well, with using any other play style.
Yeah, it's like,
so like I was trying to like play around with it. It's like, do we focus more on like, because like I want to figure out the effectiveness of Savage, right?
Oh,
like
I already know that.
What's better? Like, oh wait, do you?
Yeah, you know Savage.
Oh,
Savage is the same way attack works to Monster Hunter. It's based on your bloat value of your weapon. So for reference, Cannon 1 Savage is 5 raw. That's my bloat raw. So you can just compare it, and then we also did look at like 1% attack boost from like Pummel Booster and stuff like that. All those are very accurately like they're 1, 2, and 3%. So you can just compare your base value attack of your weapon with Savage compared to like a 1 or 2, 3% skill.
Might have to look at that.
Yeah, so just put on like a Savage 1 anything and just see how much numbers you go up, because it's the same just for all your weapons.
Yeah, because like I think that's like the point we're at in the game right now. It's like we don't know enough to like really min-max everything, but we can find very easy damage builds in Desperation and Surprise Attack. But I don't like where the game is at right now, because the options feel limited. And when they are giving you all of these new challenges like the volatiles and deeply volatiles, it's hard to prepare for them if you can either you like comfort doesn't exist really,
because
like
all the
comfort
defense
is just
stuff is so low. Like
like
it's not Ironclad and like the what is it, Divine Protection Destiny skill, all the values are so tiny, like they don't feel like they make any difference at all. And it's like that's like everyone just goes full kimono Desperation, because why not? More damage means the hunt gets over sooner. You're gonna die in 2 hits regardless.
Exactly. Like the best defensive skill was on the like Highwayman feat Resurrection, which is Moxie. Yeah. Once per hunt, if you were to be killed, you just aren't. There's like no threshold for it. Isn't that
kimono only though?
It is a kimono mod. Yep.
So it's like
kimono mod's just so much better.
Yeah. So, and I love the whole kimono and human system. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You can take this base and then upgrade it one way or the other. But the skills don't change on the armors when you upgrade them, which they should. They should shuffle the skills around for each of the augments, because then we effectively get 3 times the amount of armors.
Exactly. And more options.
And more
that's
options.
like that's the biggest thing here. We don't want busted, we want options. I want to be able to play different play styles, or at least have different like ways to approach building, not just you have these legitimately 6 armor sets to choose from for your skills.
Right. And how many offensive skills are there on the armors? Let's see. We have Desperation on 2 pieces of Peacock. We have Battle Spirit, which is Challenger, which I actually like, on the Dragon Pants. And that is it. There's no other offensive skills. You can get like your Pummel boost and your Lunge boost. There's no Pierce boost, because fucking why? Why would they give Gunner stuff? But
fuck you, that's why.
Yeah, but
there is
those.
There is the Part Breaker boost, Final Blow.
Right. Okay.
Or is that Final Blow? Oh, there's the Final Blow is Knockdown.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Destruction Art.
There's Destruction Art, but there's one that's when you break a part, you get a damage boost. That's on the Highwayman hands. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like what, 5% or something?
On there, yeah, it's like 5%, but you can build it up to, or no, it's higher than that. I have it at like 43% right now.
Oh, really? Armor.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is the thing that I'm talking about, though, is that, like, they don't make like a lot of like realistic like comparisons, because the one way to play optimal staff right now is the Amaterasu staff that can get 70% Mountain Felling Giant Blade, which says you get a 70% damage modifier to attacks when you on your big swing when you have full mutation gauge, which is the only way you're doing it anyways, because at full you get an extra hit that does twice the damage. So you're already just doing an ass ton amount of damage. It's 3 hits, and if the first 2 break apart, then you get that part break, like that 43% on that last hit. So you're hitting wacky numbers on volatile monsters, like wacky. You know, like you hit something and you just see like the green spark of explosion. And you see the thing proc, and you're like,
feels good.
This could be a big number. This is gonna be a big number.
Yeah, but like, and so like stuff like that is great. Yeah, but like it's great when it works. But then there's no options, and that's like I did the same thing. I was trying to build bows and cannons for raw, crit, and elemental, and every single time I just came up with just go raw. Like, why are you spending skills trying to upgrade these other things? And I think the problem with that is the weapon system. I wanted two things to kind of change with the weapon system. I love the inheritable skills. I wish you could overwrite the first inheritable skill when you land on a weapon, because a lot of times you don't want that. So that would allow you to bring
Fogfall on the Amaterasu staff, like it's fucking useless.
Like, but that would allow you to bring 5 skills over instead of 4. That would be big already. And then also, in the same vein, I want them to allow you to move 1 inherent skill. Also, I hate the wording inherent and inheritable.
Yep, that was awful. So that was terrible.
I think like innate skills or inheritable skills would have been better. Just slightly different wording.
I read your tweet like 5 times. I read that tweet where you're talking about like being able to move inherent skills over, and then you put in parentheses, not inheritable. I know you can do that. And then end parentheses. I read that 5 times and still almost replied to your tweet. I'm like, dude, you can do that.
I hate the wording. So the inherent skills, though, you can have up like 2 on a weapon, and there's some really cool inherent skills. But the problem is that a lot of the ones like Flame Wielder, you get like chance to ignite a monster. Those are higher up on the tree where the weapons are fucking dog shit. And you'll never land on that. So it's like, if you could take some of those skills that are only available on some weapons and bring them down, the weapon trees would be way more versatile at that point. I would love that. So I really want them to change those.
The bladed weapons too have a lot better options for elemental, because I think there's some bladed weapons that have Flame Wielder in inheritable, not in only in inherent.
No way. Really?
I think so.
Oh, fuck. No gun.
I haven't really looked at that, because like the only weapons that really like raw right now are like Clawblade and Wagasa, and that's it. I don't even think Katana likes it. I think Katana is still better raw. But like Wagasa is like amazing with elemental, because you do so many hits all the time, and if you can just keep pressure up like that, like because you can just fight constantly, your elemental actually like ends up being a lot bigger.
Okay.
But like I did notice that like your like fire wilt, and I kind of like this just because it adds to like the level of effort necessary to go for meta. Fire wilt is on the opposite side of the tree from the fire tree. Water wilt's on the opposite side from the water tree. I actually kind of like that because it makes you be creative in your building, and like it makes you explore that system to get the most optimal weapon.
Yeah, that's really fun. It's just I don't even know what fire wilt does.
If it's elemental exploit for fire specifically, that's it.
But
if a monster is weak to fire, you deal more damage with it.
So that, like, let's say it's 3%. So you get 3% more fire damage if they're weak to fire, or is it?
Yes,
because it's supposed. The description says there's a chance to lower their fire resistance.
Oh, is that what it says?
That's what it says.
Shot.
So I was like, I don't know if the percentage is. There's that % chance on hit to lower the resistance, and now you get more damage. Because that's the thing about localization.
Oh, no, yeah. Occasionally reduces kimono's fire resistance when making a fire-based attack.
So it's like, but they don't describe things properly or well enough that I still don't know what that means and how much. Is the percentage how much they lose of their fire resistance, whatever that is, or is that the chance on hit to do some random amount of minus fire res that I don't understand? And how long does that last? Like,
yeah.
So like, I really wish they would describe things better.
It's arbitrary. Oh my gosh, it's very much like 3U and 4U like skills where you would just like read something and be like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna use it.
And it turns out it does nothing.
And it turns out it does absolutely nothing, like Ukemi art.
Yeah. Well, now I know what that does. Thank God.
Yeah, now we know.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know, like it's and we kind of talked about it briefly too, but like there's even like a staff skill. There's a staff inheritable weapon skill that's says something about like you deal more damage on full body attacks.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I read the entire like tutorial section for Karakuri staff. I did the training dummy tutorial again. Those words do not exist in the game outside of that skill.
There's a couple other things like that, or like the claw master for the claw thing. There's 2 claw masters on the weapon tree. One of them, and I think they're the exact same description. One of them is just like a fixed skill. It just says claw master. And then later on, there's one that says like 15% claw master. It's like, what does the original one do? Like, I don't fucking know. There's 2 of them. And then same for fatigue recovery.
Yeah,
why there's 2
fatigue recovery 2 skills?
Yeah, one for stamina. It's a different icon. One for stamina, regen, and then the other one is to get cured of sleep quicker. Like, yeah. Why? Fuck, just,
why does that exist?
There's so much stuff in the game. Like, why is stuff worded? Which is why I don't trust anything in this game. Because, like, I don't know.
You have to verify everything.
Yeah, like, I don't know if what it says is what is intentional. Like, acquisition and coin to sword, 2 different, like, item gathering skills. One is, like, increase the chance of getting rare materials. And the other one is increase the chance of getting additional materials. I'm like,
yeah,
I get that they're worded differently, but why are there 2 skills that do almost the same thing and is a talisman a material or an additional item? Like, I don't understand what these skills work for. Like,
it might be like specifically like on pickups. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. That's
you gotta, yeah. It's testing, man. And like, even like, how do you like test something that has like a % chance to proc? Like,
well, and that's the thing. So it's like, if it's like, oh, I have a 3% chance to get additional materials. Does that mean like there's a 3% chance that I will get double materials? And then like, I could see that eventually. Or is it like, I now have like
1 more reward?
Yeah. Like I get like 3% additional materials just constantly. And then do I need 100 of that?
Didn't you say that the rewards were in a cycling table?
They are. Yeah, I've done enough of the same hunts where you see the same rewards pop up, and that's like for like the celestial dragon.
It's like 5 or 6. It's not much.
Yeah, like they just cycle.
Yeah.
So you do a monster enough, you'll go back to the table where you get the items you want. Like, thankfully, the celestial dragon has one of the reward tables is 2 of the orbs, which are
2,
what you need.
Yeah, 2 essence. Yep.
Yeah. So
that one's really nice. And then other one's like 2 tails, and the next one after that is 1 tail. I really like that.
Yeah. So like at first I was like, fuck, these things aren't random. But then I'm like, okay, they're not random. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that, right? Only because like, and someone else in my chat like put it a really good way. It removes the whole like rare drop pipe like moment, you know?
Right. But then you also don't have to fight a monster 17 times to get a mantle.
So there's a way to fix this, right? And I mean, it's like the melding in World and like the anomaly stuff in Rise, where you can take a reward that you receive from a quest to turn it into the reward that you want to get. It's just like Final Fantasy grinding, where like you do a Savage raid and you can either get the weapon that you want or get a material that crafts into the weapon that you want. You can trade 7 tokens to get the weapon. I like that system so much more. I fight the monster, I get the monster token. If I don't get the rare drop, I at least always get guaranteed to get a token. And after 7 tokens, I can go and get my reward. Versus like, oh, I just went through all 6 tables, I have to fight it 6 times again to get it. I guess it's the same thing, effectively. I get it. But like having the random chance to like get the reward sooner feels better than like just knowing you're going to get it in 6 hunts.
Right, and because also that gives you another element of it's player choice and player urgency. We're like, oh, I got the thing. I can just whatever I want. I can go to like this other vendor. I can just buy things. That I like. Yeah, I don't know. It probably feel nicer for the player just knowing that it's there, because I think most people aren't going to realize that there are like rotating tables for rewards. Yeah. So they're just gonna be like, why am I not getting these fucking Sportail stipes that I need 7 of?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I had to like I farmed Sportail on stream to like make my first
everyone has farmed Sportail.
Everyone has to, and I did it, and I was like, oh, like I finally got the last one, and someone in chat was like, yay, you're done with that. I'm like, until I have to build another weapon.
Yeah, you have to go down the same path. But also,
every fucking time.
I think the Sportail tail break is bugged. It doesn't drop the stipe where it's supposed to. You can get it in quest rewards, but I don't think the part break. And I think that's the biggest issue there, is that it just doesn't.
Yeah, because you can get the small break off of it, which I've never seen a piece drop on the floor, and then you can cut the tail off entirely, can't you?
I've never seen the tail be cuttable. Sportail's tail, like Rage tails, you can cut off. I've never been able to cut off.
I've cut off Sportails.
Oh, you have? I've never seen that.
Yeah, at lower rank, using a weapon that dealt significantly less damage, so I could hit the tail more often.
Okay, I've never seen it in high rank, which is why I grinded it.
Yeah,
but okay.
Well, no, like at like lower ranks, like I wasn't like when I was doing my progression, I cut off the tail, because I cut off the tail on the Sportail first before I cut off the one on the Rage tail, and I was like, oh, that was cool. And then I cut off one on the Rage tail. I was like, oh, okay, cool, you can cut this off. So I only ever like broken parts off. Yeah, it gave me a carve, but I don't know what it gave me.
Okay, because every time I've hunted so much goddamn Sportail on stream, and we did all our damage onto the tail, like me and Vietner. We always got the break, but not the sever. We're just like, can you not kill it before, or not do it before it dies? Because it seems like a lot of monsters are like that. Where like Lavaback's arms or King Tusks are like, they die before the thing breaks. You know, like.
I think they have a calculation of like part of your damage, because I mean, like I go up to a monster and with Katakuri Blade, I literally build up my gauge, trap it, and hit it once for over 5,000 damage, and sometimes I don't get part breaks off of that. So it's like, I think that they do. There might be like a cap to the amount of part break that you can do, and maybe Destruction Art unlocks that cap to something higher. And then, or they might just like calculate part break damage differently, where like if you hit it for 4K, only 10% of that actually is effectively into part break. Like, who knows?
You want to hear something that's going to fuck up your entire thought on the game, that it's completely anecdotal and I don't have enough evidence to back it up? So you know how monster HP is incredibly varied, right?
Yeah.
So I was doing my Karakuri spam build, which I feel is very consistent, because it's literally just spam harpoons for over and over again, and they do the exact same amount of damage. There should be a fixed amount of harpoons that kill a monster. And I was doing it against Golden Tempest, and I had like the first time I did it without trying, I was just kind of like, hey, does this build work? Did it in 10 minutes, and I was like, that's whatever. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try hard. I'm gonna like put down these thread shrines. I'm gonna like do all my hunter's arts. I'm gonna like preemptively place traps so you can't leave areas. I'm gonna do all this shit, and I couldn't get the hunt done under like 16 minutes. I timed out. It's a 20-minute hunt. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm actually trying now, and it's taking so much longer. And then I was like, I'm gonna try something else. So I was doing the hunt, and same old, just spamming harpoons. And then as he was trying to leave, I used hammers, and I killed in 7 minutes. Hammers do significantly less damage, but it's a different type of damage.
Oh.
So I'm like, I wonder how this fucking damage and life calculation
is actually
works.
Calculated. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was mixing up my Karakuri, which I did when I wasn't trying, I was using like some artilleries and just random junk here and there. Much faster time. Solid harpoons, much longer time. So I don't know if monsters calculate damage differently, and the damage numbers that show up are not 100% accurate.
Maybe the damage numbers that show up are what we are dealing pre-resistance.
Yeah, like do they build up tolerance? Do they have resistance? And then also, if you know, I've gone to the target dummy. The training dummy is the worst thing in the game, by the way. It lies to you. And I can shoot the target dummy with like my cannon for like 200 damage. But then on the top corner, when it registers your damage, it says 184. And I'm like, huh. How about that?
That's weird.
Yeah, so I don't trust damage numbers in the game at fucking all.
I wonder if that's just for range, because like for the Karakuri staff, like it calculates. I mean, I want to say it calculates right. I only hit 3 times. I'm pretty sure I can add 3 numbers together.
It's a little weird for when I was testing cannon. So I don't know what's going on with the damage numbers.
Yeah, that's super weird.
But yeah, so
the game, and I think, I mean, I don't know, what's your next good bad, because we kind of got derailed there a little bit.
Sorry.
Do we have another good bad, or
so we did weapons, armors, monsters, the map, the Karakuri. Last one, Karakuri.
Oh yeah, we can talk about Karakuri. Yeah. And I guess we'll talk about combat Karakuri, because we've already talked about the Dragon Karakuri in the map section. So let's talk about basic Karakuri.
Okay.
They implemented basic Karakuri incredibly well, in that they evolved the gameplay beyond what a weapon can normally do. I never feel like I absolutely have to use basic Karakuri to use my weapon. I do feel like for some fights, I absolutely have to use fusion Karakuri to complete it. The sparks of inspiration that they give you throughout the gameplay are also bullshit. I have had so many of those. I think every single time I had a spark of inspiration, except for Bulwark on King Tusk, it fucking failed.
Monster hit you while you're crafting it, or as soon as you started building it, they hit you. Yeah, every time. I was like, cool, now I have to wait till another hunt to get inspiration again.
Yeah, so the King Tusk one worked fine, and the Celestial Cannon on Golden Tempest worked just fine. I put down the Celestial Shield against Ember Plume and then got one shot before I could walk through it and realize like what it was. I literally put it down like, what the fuck does this do? And I died, and I was like, what?
Dude, I still haven't unlocked all those. I don't have Fireworks, I don't have Bomb, I don't have Shield.
Fireworks are good, man.
It's so good. It immediately knocks anything out of the air. It's a quick stagger.
Sometimes.
It's cheap.
Sometimes. I found out there's times it doesn't fucking work. Amaterasu.
Well, so here's the thing about that. It does work on Amaterasu, but you have to do it. It's kind of like stagger canceling. It can't be in certain animations, but if you get it right after,
like Yana.
Yeah, like you have to be very careful with it. That's like the little artillery ballistas. I also found out on their first hit will 100% of the time dunk a monster out of the air. On just the first hit, the first time you build one, and the monsters build up tolerance for some reason. But like a lot of monsters that go in the air, go in the air on Enrage. So like Fumebeak, Pearlbeak, the chickens, Amaterasu, they jump into the air. If you put down your little artillery at the right time so that they're done with their Enrage animation and they just sit in the air and the thing hits it, dunk every single time. So
that's a good trick, because I hate the like artillery thing. Like I can't fucking I used it like twice against Fumebeak, and every time that I put it down, Fumebeak like rushed me and broke it.
Yeah, they have no life. Yeah,
I'm like, this is awful. I hate this. No, but like the basic Karakuri are simple enough that you can implement them incredibly well in like your normal combos, and so I really like those. Except for Torch.
Torch is. Is there anything Torch does for you? Like,
so it gives you more or less Flame Wielder. It gives your weapon Flame Wielder for the combo that it does out of the after it. Okay. Like, if you the attack that you do using it gives you Flame Wielder. You can set a monster ablaze with that. It's fucking hard to do. So what I was doing against Sportail was doing a combination of that and Star Bombs to set monsters ablaze. Okay. Because I was getting tired of Sportail moving when I had to fight it like and farm it the first time. I didn't have like end game equipment yet. I was like, this thing's moving too much. I'm going to put bombs down and use fire constantly. So it can set them on fire. And I think it does give you the fire resistance. Like it gives you its fire resistances. So if it's weak to fire, it does, you are dealing more damage.
Okay.
But that's just what the game says. I do know that you can use it to set a monster ablaze, though. I've done it like twice.
Okay.
But that was also using star bombs with it.
Right. So I was just gonna say, like, because the only thing I've seen it do is that it gets more heat for cannon, which is cool. But like everything else, like I don't do any more damage as far as I could tell with it, and it's just like I don't know what else it does. But I like
it changes my combos for Karakuri staff. Like it gives 2 unique combos, so I can build the mutation gauge a little bit better.
Okay.
But like that's it.
So I like that the Karakuri was separated into 2 sections. Like the basic Karakuri is for your weapon. Like you have that to alter
oriented.
But then like the fusion Karakuri is for monsters and stopping monsters. So I like that we have 2 different types that do 2 different things entirely.
Yeah.
So
no, that's nice. And what's the hardest thing through like progression too is like figuring out what Karakuri, like what fusion Karakuri you've used before works on the new monsters that you're fighting. Like there's a lot of trial and error while you're playing to figure out like what works where. When I was fighting the gold shard, the gold hedgehog thing.
Fuck that
when
guy.
I was fighting that when I was fighting that for the first time, I was getting so tilted because I was like, this thing doesn't stop fucking moving, it doesn't do anything. Like I'm getting frustrated and aggravated. And then I accidentally built a shield once. And it worked out for me. I was like, oh my God, fusion Karakuri. Yeah. That's what I need to be doing on every new fight. It's just using every fusion Karakuri. Yeah. And like, once you figure out that fusion Karakuri is your way to controlling the monster, you get so much more control over fights and you can create your own openings. So like fusion Karakuri is cool when it works. And it's fun to use when it actually places on the ground and doesn't get fucked up by weird ground geometry, or just doesn't break instantaneously. It just doesn't work for any reason. It's fun.
It's fun. It's one of those systems where I was like, I wasn't excited about it going in. I thought Wild Hearts looked great, and then I saw like all this building, so I was like, whatever. It looks fine. But then as you play with it more and more, you're like, oh shit, this is actually really good.
It's well defined. It's well developed for each weapon. Every weapon can use it in some way, shape, or form. Some better and some worse. So like it's actually fun. Like one of the ways, the Celestial Thread, super cool movement, basic Karakuri. You put it on the ground, you jump off of it, and then now you more or less have Chain Blade flying. Very, very easy way to spam the basic Karakuri mutation for the Karakuri staff, because every time you do a mutation attack from a basic Karakuri, you get 2 gauges instead of 1.
Oh, okay.
So using that, you can actually build, you do 4 attacks and you build into all 8 gauges that you need very, very quickly. It's actually really good against Celestial Dragon.
Okay.
Super cool thing that you can do. So like every weapon like can actually use these things pretty well, because like other weapons, like I look at Celestial Thread, I'm like, I would never want to use that with it. And granted, I actually don't like it because it's incredibly difficult to control, but I need to figure out how to control it if I ever do RTA of Wild Hearts, because that's like the only way to get around the map at that point. Like the moment you unlock Celestial Thread, like that's what you use for the rest of the game.
You go so fast and so far with that thing. You're just bunny hopping through the entire zone. Like,
literally, it's insane. And what's even funnier too is that if you can get your momentum fast enough, it carries through with your attacks. So you can use it to gain momentum and then use Juggernaut Blade with it. And you do an attack across the entire zone.
Oh, that's cool.
You just fucking fly through the air using Juggernaut Blade. It's actually wildly funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think, we can agree that the Karakuri is pretty fucking cool. Like, no hates towards it, when it works. But that's the downside, is when it doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you ever have the issue, like, I don't know if it's just a gunner thing or mouse and keyboard issue or what, but I'll be fighting a monster, and then I'm like, I want to use a trap or something, like, or I want to build like a quick wall, the springboard wall, whatever it is, the short parry wall.
Yeah, the shield.
Yeah, but then like you hold up your Karakuri menu, and then the white box is on your player, not right in front of you.
Ooh, no, I've never had that happen before.
Oh my god! I don't know if it's either ranged or mouse and keyboard issue. But every time I'm shooting something or doing something and I want to build something really quick, and I hold down my right click, which brings up my Karakuri menu, the box is on me rather than in front of me, and I have to stop and wait for my character to like stop and go to his idle animation before that box moves ahead of me. And if I don't,
if you're walking, it'll put it underneath your feet. So if you're moving at all.
Yeah, so is that what that is?
Underneath you?
That's super annoying because I'm
aggravating
trying to move, especially because I'm a gunner. I'm like with cannon walking and shooting, and then like I have to build something. I'm like, I want to build a wall, but then it starts on me, and I start with the stupid fucking spring dart, whatever, on me, and then it does that without me being able to build everything, or it pushes me back, and now everything's offset. And I'm like, it's really annoying.
The worst thing is making a firework. And you go to place on a torch, but you were moving slightly forward a little bit. So you place on the torch and you immediately walk into it and you pull out your weapon and then you die. And you're like, okay.
I hated the torch in combat. Yeah. So like the Karakuri is great, but like they need to do something to fix the walking thing.
Torch.
The torch. I just think the walk in general. Like I want it to always be in front of me.
A toggleable would be really cool. Like if you pull up the menu and then like maybe you hit like L3 or just like another button and it toggles it on you or in front of you. Like that would be nice. And so it like think of a clutch claw where I don't think you ever used sword and shield with in Iceborne, but you can when you pull out when you have the weapon out and you aim with clutch claw, you have two states for sword and shield because you have aiming the claw or the slinger, so you can just shoot slinger pod, and then you have slinger burst mode. As long as your weapon stayed out, it remembers what state you were in. So for us, like on Xeno, we like the first time that we switch, we only have to switch once, and then we know we're in slinger burst stance when we aim it, so we can do that faster.
That would be very ideal. I would love that. And then that would fix pretty much most of my problems with crafting, I think. And then the other one,
because that way you could like quickly place something under your feet if you needed to, or just like place things in front of you while you're walking.
Yeah. And then other than fixing the snapping, which definitely has issues, especially with the unbalanced terrain. The other thing I wanted though that would fix everything is if we also had like, if you like bring up your menu, you can hit like one button to go into like the destruction mode, or you can click another one to go into the Dragon Karakuri. I want some other input or button that is just for macros for Fusion Karakuri. So you don't have to build it up. You could just drop the one thing for the cost, because that would solve so much problems with you can't build here, or like the stuff's not snapping properly. Like if I could just quickly go and build a Fusion Karakuri, it would still take like
would be
two buttons. But
I mean, that would be nice, but I think it would trivialize their design of what Fusion Karakuri are supposed to be. It's supposed to be this thing that takes time, that you have to do kind of precisely, because it does instantly interrupt the monster, right? Like if you do it correctly, you have complete control over the monster. And that was going to be something that I was going to say too about the Fusion Karakuri, is I think it trivializes the game once you know how to use it. Because every fight is
OP.
Place a trap, place a firework, place a harpoon, just place your shit, and you can completely lock down the monster. Like it's not, once you know how to use it, the game is bonkers easy.
Yeah.
Like it's dumb. It's kind of unfun that way. But I think that's why they build it that way. And I think that's why it's kind of like that finicky, is so you really have to be deliberate in how you're placing that stuff. Because the thing they need to fix is you can't place an item here. They need to fix that. Like that's a terrain problem that immediately disrupts like you playing the game, and it only happens because you're on a slope, or like there's like something to the right of you. And if you just walk to the right, you can place it.
Yeah.
Like if you just walk to the right, it lets you place it. But like if you don't do that, you just build a straight line up, then you get hit by whatever attack's coming
like
at you.
It should snap to the other side that's placeable.
Or just fix the fact that it's saying it's not placeable. Just make it placeable, because it is. I walked to the right and then it was. And like that's a problem.
It's weird because you can build stuff like in walls, like halfway into a wall and into the ground. So it's I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
In the first camp that you get to on the island, I have a dock made. So I have Karakuri boxes placed in the ground, because I put them at the same level as the ones that I put in the water. So I have like a little dock that's built there. So like the game can do it. It's just the game can't natively place it down there unless it's Minecraft. You have to place it against that wall or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of the dumb thing about it, and that's immediately disruptive to the combat flow.
And it's because when you craft something, it's always exactly level with the player, and it doesn't go up and down at all. So if you're level, but like there's rocks in the way, it's like, oh no, there's terrain in the way, we can't do it. And just like,
can't do that. Sorry, fam.
Like, put it in the rock. Like we can if we just put it over here and then put one into it. But
if they fixed that for like combat situations, that would be really nice. Because I think making, because I thought about that too. I was like, why can't we just have a macro to make fusion karakuri? But I think that just kind of like
trivializes it.
Yeah, it trivializes the ability to make fusion karakuri, because like there's not a time that you can always place that stuff, right? There might be like a sleep cloud from a small rat that breaks your box every time you place it down, right? Or like Fumebeak's poison constantly breaks it, or the entangled ground will break karakuri. So I think having a macro that places it down trivializes that.
But it not like automatically like I just placed trap, but what if you clicked it and it did the build?
Built it?
Yeah, and it built it. So it would still be subject to those kinds of things. And it could have like a limited build speed that it would just do on its own.
Yeah.
And then that would
I think the way to I think if you were gonna like balance that, it would be like a slower build speed, but like also stop you from moving. Because like functionally, if you're gonna place a trap, that's how you have to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Because like if you're strafing to the left and trying to make a fusion karakuri, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna put one down, you're gonna put something next to it, and you're gonna put something next to it. That's just like how it functions. So it's an unfortunate thing, because it's just one of those you have to get used to it kind of things, where you stop moving completely and then build something. Because if you strafe or move or anything, you're gonna fuck up your build.
Right.
Which the big moments where like fusion karakuri are used, like let's say gold shard or onyx shards, like spinning, charge, you can stop and do that. Or king tusk, charge, like you can stop to do that. But then like the faster things, like anytime a bird flies, it's gonna be a lot harder.
Or when fucking Deathstalker does like his 5-hit charge back and forth combo, and you're like, oh cool, I need to build something, and you're like, and then he charges past you, you iframe through it, and you turn around, and you're like, I need to build a quick wall to stop him, and it's like
right there.
Yeah, and it's just like the wall's just like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to get good at building shields against that. So like I would dodge. And then I found out if you just build a bulwark in front of you, no matter where you're standing, you have like a 50-50 shot of just like getting hit and then the bulwark hits it, or the bulwark just hits it and you're fine.
Interesting. So like the hitbox is that big that it'll just hit that before it touches you sometimes?
Because like sometimes like I'll place it and put it in front of me, but he's over here and runs into the side of it. But then other times I'll place it and he's behind me and he just runs me over and then also hits it. And then I have a moment to heal.
Great.
So like either way, he's gonna run into it, but there's like a difference between like I get hit or it gets hit by the bulwark. Like it's weird.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of little things that can go wrong for sure. But
oh yeah, I mean, and we could spend hours and hours on like each of our experiences, like the small minutia of annoying bullshit.
I hate when a monster's not aggroed and you're trying to build something and they just walk over your stuff and you're like,
come on, bud. Like don't do that.
You're not like aggressively kicking over my boxes. What was the point of building fortitude on boxes in the karakuri tree when they just walk over
if they're
them
just
anyway?
if they're gonna instantly break it. No, there's like no reason to do that.
Like, do those even do anything? Like, what does building extra life on boxes do?
I don't think so, because like even like building that karakuri for fortitude, right? If you place a box, it's only good for one stagger. Because once it hits it again, it just gets destroyed anyways, or it doesn't, and the monster doesn't get staggered anyways. Or the
monster just goes through it regardless, because it's like, I'm just too big for that. Yeah, like, I don't know what...
It doesn't matter sometimes. So, I think it's mostly for, like, when they're attacking and they get, like, bumped back by a box. But, like, outside of that, like, it's not useful. But, like, for stuff like that, for, like, utility-based skills, they need to make the bonus bigger. They need to make it more useful, because... why do that when I can just stack power and kill it before a timer starts?
Yeah, that is the other issue. The balance of the game is kind of whack once you kind of figure everything out. You're just like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, I think I don't think they were prepared for people like you and me and others like
Monster
hunting
Hunter
game
people.
speedrun.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's put it that way. I mean, like we're hunting genre speedrunners. Like if we just want to like generalize it, like we're Monster Hunter speedrunners, but like we look at these games and we kind of understand the intricacies of like how to tear it apart. We know what to do when we're given a new resource. We know how to use it, implement it, test it, push it to its boundaries, and then exploit it. That's the biggest thing. And speedrunners will just do that, right? Like IL speedrunners, RTA speedrunners, like yeah, we just do that stuff. Exactly. And like it doesn't matter like what game we play or like what we're doing, like we're gonna find something and exploit the shit out of it.
See, and honestly, I think that's why I loved playing Wild Hearts so much, is because it was all brand new.
All brand new.
And like I had to learn everything. It wasn't like I'm going to play another Monster Hunter game. I know how all these games play. Exactly. I know what's going on. Or the same like playing like a Souls game. I know how these games are going to play. We just got to learn it. This was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. We got to play and try everything. And it was so fresh. I couldn't even get into that mindset of, I got to learn how to abuse every little thing possible. So it's like, I don't know what this does. What does this do?
Yeah, exactly.
How do I do this?
It wasn't until you got to the end of the game that you were like able to look at all of the resources that you have and all of the things that you've done. And you're like, okay, now we can do that.
Yeah. And that was like, I think about 80 or 90 hours in. I was finally like, okay, let's tear this down now. We're done.
Yep. Let's tear it apart. Because I watched your surprise attack like video. And so now I want to do that with the Karakuri staff and see if I can make
so dumb.
Yeah, I want to try to like implement that to make the one shot. The only problem is how do you build up gauge quickly? So the problem is you have to go find another monster because at that point you're killing them too quick.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to do an attack to mutate to build gauge. So like the one way to do it is to do a box attack away from them and then mutate and hit one of them. Because like you can do a box attack and you go into this like diving spear, and then when you transform, you do a whirlwind with the Tonfa.
Okay.
And then you can clip one of them and you get your 2 gauges. Then you have to do that 4 times. So it's like
it's a lot of prep work.
You got to do that or just go find another large monster and do that to a large monster really quick. But it has to be close enough because if your gauge runs out by the time you get there.
Yeah.
So there's a way though. So I kind of wanted to. I think that's the next thing I'm going to play around with is surprise attack on that with the 70% giant filling mountain.
Hunt spine gliders if you want surprise attack talismans.
Ooh,
talismans are not random.
They have to be volatile. They have to be deeply volatile to get that.
Nope.
Oh, just any.
Yep.
Interesting.
If you want a quick breakdown of talismans, all monsters have a affinity for certain skills, so it's really easy to target farm stuff, which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Rarity, or not rarity, I guess toughness doesn't seem to matter. Regular, mighty, volatile, they all have the same pool, so you can just hunt regular ones if you want.
Is it like quality? Is it like better quality that come out of it?
Nope. Not as far as I can tell. Now, that being said, deeply volatile monsters always guaranteed 1 talisman drop on kill, and their talismans can be higher percentages in skills than normal monsters. So like let's take Ember Plume. Ember Plume can drop desperation talismans. I've gotten up to 4% on 1 talisman from Ember Plume. But on Farid Crazecomb, the deeply volatile chicken, I have a 6% talisman from him. Now, the deeply volatiles have a much wider a range of talismans. They are not so fixed like normal monsters, so it's impossible basically to target farm from them, but they do have potential higher values. So if you want to min-max, you obviously want to kill the deeply volatile monsters to get... But
if you just want a usable build,
you can target farm stuff really easily. So like surprise attack spine glider gets up to 15% on a talisman. That's good. You can get 5 of those. Yeah. That's like fucking 75% surprise attack damage. It's nutty.
There you go.
And then I think on the deeply volatiles, it goes to 20%. But then the cost goes up, so I don't even know if you can equip 5 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fine. You don't have to do the deeply volatile stuff, but it's really easy to target farm certain skills, which is cool. Now,
I mean, it might be like worth like build wise. Like if we're gonna theorycraft build, it's like 1 deeply volatile talisman and then 4 normal ones. You know?
Something like that.
Because that probably meets the it's like what 50 points.
Yeah, 50 points. And then there's one other way of doing talismans is hunter requests, which I fucking hate. Hunter requests have a hard daily limit of 7 per day. It's a soft cap at 5, and you can get 7, and they reset after 24 hours of the last one you did, not the first one. Yeah. Trust me, I've been doing this for a couple days. It's really pissing me off. Hunter talismans are guaranteed to get 1 after every visitor request. It doesn't matter what monster you are, what rank it is, because every fucking visitor request is either Rage Tail, Sap Scourge, or King Tusk. I don't know why. Rarely you'll get like a harder monster, but same talismans, doesn't matter. But those talismans always have 1 skill, which sucks because it's just 1 skill, but they can have weapon skills. So you can get stuff like anything that's on the weapon tree can be on those talismans. So like I can get like Deep Arrow, all the big skills you can get on those talismans.
Like Mountain Felling Giant Blade?
I don't know what typically the percentages on those talismans are about half of what they come on the tree. So if you get like 70% tree, the talisman will probably be like 30-ish, 35%.
Well, so you get 15% in the inherent, and then the Amaterasu has or the inheritable give 15%. Okay. The inherent on Amaterasu is 40%. So that gets you to 70.
So you'd probably get about 8% on the talisman.
Yeah.
But you can also have 5 talismans.
Yeah.
But then the skills that are like just active skills that don't have percent values, those are in full effect. You get that like keystone on the talisman.
What do you mean? Explain that again.
Here, I have a picture. Let me send you pictures. I'm gonna fuck up this.
Gotta fuck up a DM.
Well, yeah, because I'm capturing the window, so I have to move it to do that. Okay, so is it this one? Yeah. So I don't know if you know Nodachi skills, but here is.
Okay.
It is that skill, the Steely EI skill that you would find on the weapon tree, just on the talisman.
Just on the talisman.
Yeah. So you get the whole function of that skill on one talisman. So all those fixed skills you can get
now become available.
And then that way you can also rebuild your tree to get like, I'm going to now stack a bunch of fucking crit because I can get all these quality of life useful skills on my talismans. Because you can't really get crit talismans. They're not, you can, but they're always like 1%, 2%.
Yeah, they're not great.
But you can shift around everything by getting weapon talismans.
Huh. That's super cool. I like that. So, and this is something, because like you're going through all this, and I like this version of a talisman farm, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can target things that you want. Once you understand the system, you can, because the game's not inherently forthright about that, but that's fine. You're just going to notice this after so much time, or some amazing content creator like Phemeto is going to figure it out for you. And then now you have a rather decent like talisman farming system in your game that's not 100% random, where you need 1 in 4 billion chance to get something useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's nice. That's super cool, actually.
And I feel like more people would be more receptive to the end game once they know it's really easy to target like the decent stuff, like normal monster talismans and weapon talismans, and then you can spend your time grinding volatiles if you want for their talismans or whatever, and then you do the deeplies for the min-max, like higher percentage stuff. When you want
exactly.
Because you can go in with a build.
No, that's actually like, yeah, because I didn't do any of the volatiles until I had a build. Mm-hmm. I was like, I want my Mountain Felling Giant Blade build done before I start fighting those. Right. And now I want to do a surprise attack Mountain Felling Giant Blade.
It's really quick. Yeah, build. I mean, I think every other charm I got from Spine Glider was surprise attack. So
yeah, I could just do like the chapter 1 Spine Glider.
Yep.
And get equivalent to a mighty Spine Glider.
Yep. I don't have 100% accurate data to support that, but we have had.
I'll test it.
Yeah, like I have done like volatile monsters, mighty monsters, and some low rank monsters, and I think I have like, let's just take like Rage Tail. I think I have like in my pool of like, I got at least 10 talismans from every single monster to generate this list, just so I could see what things have affinities for. And on Rage Tail, I think I have like 3 low rank, 3 mighty, and 3 volatile, and you'll never be able to tell them apart. They all have the same percentages.
Huh. Okay.
So I was just like, okay, they're going to be about the same. And I tested some other monsters like Mighty Deathstalker and some volatile lava plumes and stuff. Same skills. Same thing. Okay. So I didn't go super deep into it. I just did a couple preliminary tests. So maybe they can have lower and higher. I haven't seen anything to prove that.
I guess the only thing that I would be curious about is like maybe the Mighties have more opportunity for secondary skills.
No, they're always 2 skills. Only the hunter talismans are 1 skills, which is weird. Yeah, it's always 2 skills. It's always the same percentages. I don't know, maybe the mighties just like have the more like promising skills, but
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, you could just hunt low rank stuff.
That's cool. That's a check in the positive.
Yeah, right. I was like, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, cool. I could just target farm all my stuff pretty easily. So like now I want to go back and get all my elemental stuff like wind boost, water boost. Like I want to get 3% talismans and get 5 of those, so I get 15% on that, and then eat for 15% boost food and see if I can't make with a 30% boost make elemental better than raw.
Can we talk about food really quick?
Yeah.
Food is needlessly complicated.
It's dumb.
Food shrines make it this much better.
It's just
the fact that I can only make 3 food at a fucking time without like erasing everything from my maps is aggravating.
I think that's the annoying part, is that the food karakuri is the same as the karakuri that you're using to like traverse maps, and it's like I literally have to like invest all of my craftables on my maps to make foodstuffs, and it's still 1 at a time. I could put 1 item in the smoker at a time. I could put 20 items on the drying rack to get 3 out at a time. Like I could pickle 1 thing at a time. It is so slow, and because it's so not bad. It's not like, oh, I go out on a hunt really quick and come back, time passed, and now it's all done. It's timed in game. So you're like, you can't make it any faster. So it's like, why is this a thing? Like
that's time in game. The animal pens are 2 quests.
Oh, is that what that is?
You have to do 2 hunts.
2 hunts, okay. But it's 1 hunt to reset the vendor stock. But it's like, you clearly can separate time with just hunting. Why doesn't food do that? Why it should be 1 hunt, so I can go kill a fucking low rank rage tail and up all my food. It would make things go by
1
so much
hunt
quicker.
for 1 food would have been brilliant.
Yeah, because you don't eat for very much, but that would make it sustainable really quickly.
Exactly.
But it's so ridiculous.
And something that you would eventually catch up with, and you'd get so far ahead of that you could stop doing it for a while and like ignore it for a bit, and then be like, oh, like I'm running low on this stuff again. Let me reset all that stuff. And yeah, no, I'm the amount of fun tax when you're trying to play this game like optimally with food is insane. Because I'm about to set up food at the primary camp on every map, do a hunt, and then go and collect all that stuff. Then
and that's the other thing that's annoying, is that they don't like the food chests. You have a very limited amount of how much food you can hold. The food chests also don't like connect to each other.
They don't connect. You have to check each one individually.
You have to go to every map and check all your stuff, and then you have to make sure that you know where you stored some of your food that you were cooking. I've lost so much food because all my maps, when I was doing the food cooking shit, I spent all my Dragon Karakuri on every single map with just drying racks and smokers and food shrines. And I lost track of where everything was because I was smoking and drying. And I was just like, I have so much food made, I just don't know where it is. And I don't want to go around and check every single spot and move all my food around. Basically is what I did. Is after I figured everything out, I was just like, fuck this, I'm going to start over.
Now, the thing that I've done to make food easy is I do one thing now. I do 1 food, and it's bulbous turnips, because that gives me HP and defense.
They give so much fucking HP. They give like 38 HP.
And it's a food that eats for 90. So then you eat that and 1 eggplant.
Yeah,
and you're good.
I'll tell you what, though.
I'd say like that's like, especially doing desperation, unless you're like really trying to eke out numbers and like trying to get like speed run or maximization. If you're just playing the game, just do that. Yeah. You get so much. That's like getting health boost 3 and like defender on a meal.
My favorite has been, there's I think on the Akakure Canyon there is a rare chance to get like I forget what grain it is from the food shrines, and it gives recovery boost. And when you dry it and smoke it, I think it's like 28% recovery boost, and you can eat 2 of them. And recovery boost is how much your water actually heals. So you get a bunch of life and recovery boost, and suddenly when you get hit, instead of having to drink twice, I drink once. It just goes once all the way over.
That's actually super comfy.
Pretty nice.
Do you know if that affects Karakuri coordination remedy? I can't get that to fucking proc.
Okay, so the remedy one is a flat value, like 3 or whatever.
Yeah, and it's supposed to happen every time you do a basic Karakuri attack.
Yeah, so you have to land the attack. It works Great for bow and cannon. Like if I jump off a springboard and hit a monster, yeah, I'll see all my life go boop 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 and go up.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do that with the remedy boost because I don't see any effect from it.
Really?
That's interesting. Because I was doing a like that build with the basic Mountain Veiling Giant Blade, the basic Juggernaut blade attacks, because the idea was is just get to 4 and then do it, get to 4 and do it, like just spam that. And so I had a bunch of like the card carry coordination built into it, but I had that skill in there and I got it to like +6, and every time I did it I see no benefit from it whatsoever. That's weird.
I wonder if I need recovery, the recovery bonus. You should try. I think one of the Amaterasu weapons has like 20 on it by default.
Yeah,
try that. Because I was using that originally with bow, and that was fucking awesome. And then I got like a bunch of remedy on some talismans and stacked it. So I got like 35. My life was just chunking every single time.
Yeah, because like I was trying to do that because I had Verve in there too. And so if I didn't have to stop to heal myself every single time and could just keep attacking and then reactivate Verve, then like that would have been useful. But I had to like stop, fix myself, attack again, because I didn't see any benefit from that. So I'll have to double check that.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it just didn't work on some attacks.
Yeah, I'm curious if it just doesn't work on Juggernaut Blade, and if that's the case, then that's super dumb. Whoa, I wonder if, maybe that's why that build did like no damage, because like I was like using it and hitting for like 900 a Juggernaut Blade, and I was like, that's not enough. Like I'm usually hitting like 1500 on other builds. And I'm wondering maybe that's why. Maybe Juggernaut Blade can't proc the basic Karakuri combo.
Oh. Is it an attack that you can do out of the basic Karakuri?
Yeah. Yeah. You like jump off the spring and then you
attack.
I don't think it does. Yeah. Because you leave the spring and you do a specific Juggernaut attack from the spring, or you do a specific Juggernaut attack from the box.
Right.
And I may have to try test that out on the training dummy. Huh. Just get like just the talisman, like take off all the armor. But what do you mean? No. I'm just saying, like, because if I can get the proc, if I can get the proc and the damage, then the assumption is I can get the procman on the remedy. Yeah, because I was trying to test out that before, but it might have been from something else that I was getting the procs. I was doing it with like full armor and everything.
Fair enough. Okay.
Try that again. See, this is and so like this is the thing is that if Fem and I can sit here and derail in a conversation about like trying to like review and talk about the game, and we can derail into like theory crafting, we can tell we obviously enjoy it.
I can't put 150 hours into a game I hate. I'm just gonna say like it's a good game. Like I really do like I want to see it succeed. I want to see the updates push the game. I want it to be like this is a new IP that people are going to be excited for.
Yeah.
It's just a shame it shouldn't have launched the way it did. It's just not good right now.
They shot themselves in the foot, you know. They really did. Like there's no way, like you were saying earlier, there's no way they didn't know this was going to happen, right? There's no way that the game should have performed like this out of the gate. I will say this. I don't know how many more things do we want to derail on?
I don't know. Do you have any other big talking points? I think we kind of talked about a lot of stuff.
I know we did. We really did. No, I don't know. We hit a lot of it. Let's actually talk about this, because we talked about like mechanical changes and stuff like that. But what else in future updates would you like to see? Right. I think like what's our hope and expectation for the future of this game?
So those are two different
title
things.
Update. So okay, fine. What is?
Let's do that. Let's do one hope and then one we actually expect.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll start with this one. So for the first title update, I hope they either don't push in the new monsters and new content, because I don't feel like that's going to help the game at all right now. I would hope that they delay that and fix the game, not just performance. Obviously, first thing, performance. I want them to reword a lot of things, because I think the localization, honestly, I feel like it was just done via like AI, like just transfer over. I don't think it was done. Also, if you notice, the dialogue is robotic. Is very much AI generated dialogue from the script that was translated from the Japanese voice acting. That is normal, but the English voice acting and stuff is just AI generated red. So I feel like a lot of the wording is AI translation gone bad. They need to fix the wording and make things a much more obvious of what stuff does. Yeah. And then fix the performance. That's all I want to see on the first update. And then they can be like, okay, now we're going to go back to our regular schedule. We're adding
and push content.
So that's what I want to see first.
Yeah. What's your expectation?
We get the 2 new monsters and another performance fix, but it doesn't actually fix anything. And the new monster, whatever the Deathstalker variant's going to be, his armor's going to be shit because all the armor in the game is shit. And then the weapon's going to be down lower on the tree, so it has more raw, and everyone has to use that weapon now. I
hope the new Deathstalker isn't elemental, like in any way. I think it's just like a Nargacuga kind of style, because the Deathstalker weapons were already getting a lot of crit. It's like a Deathstalker weapon has 40% crit in the Karkari staff tree, and I'm like, that's super cool. But it has like dog shit raw and like water built into it, and I'm like,
so I'm never going to use this. Yeah,
yep.
That's a real thing I really want them to do with the weapon tree. They have to redo the weapon trees as well. Like, again, I want them to change so much. I want to change all the armors, skills, everything's got, I want everything to be changed. I love the game, but everything has to change. The weapon tree all has to be redone. Like, the bottom, like, 3 tiers all need to be similar raw. The element weapons can't be half the raw with just an equivalent amount of element. They always come out even. There's no point in using them. It's stupid.
Yeah.
They have to change the inheritable skills and the inherent skills. They, like, everything has to get
just change
changed.
That wording. That the localization needs to be redone, because I think you're right. I think they AI localized this game and then like kept some words because of like the immersion, right? Because they wanted to keep like some someone was complaining, like, why do they keep calling it karakuri? Like, that's the Japanese words for mechanisms or like mechanics, and I'm like, because if we called it mechanism box, it would be stupid, right? Like, it's an immersion thing, because like, even though we don't speak Japanese, they want us to be in that mindset that this is Japan, right? That's what they want. So that's why they say things like, they make reference to Buddha and not God, and they make reference to karakuri and say Japanese words. It's localization versus translation.
Right.
And I think that's, a good thing, because it's all about intent too, right? Like, they're not supposed to be speaking English. They're supposed to be speaking Japanese. You don't know Japanese.
Yeah.
So my hope for title updates coming forward is I think a lot like yours, and a lot like my expectation for a lot of video games right now, Pokemon, is performance fixes, obviously, but I won't harp on that. I would say mostly my hope is like making more things useful, making more playstyles useful, because every weapon right now bottlenecks to one strategy, and it's very boring. And I only say that it's very boring because there's only 7 weapons in the game. Monster Hunter does the exact same thing, but there's at least 14 weapons for me to use. And like, even in like, we think like Bowgun has 3 distinct playstyles. Bow has 3 distinct playstyles. Like, even inside of them, like each Gunlance has 3 distinct playstyles. Switch Axe has 2 distinct playstyles. If we're talking Rise, like, there's distinct playstyles for every weapon in those games, but those games have also had a lot more time to like refine themselves and had more time to like try different things and evolve beyond it. So I know that process is going to like take time, but us being incredibly limited in the way we are now, it's unfortunate.
Well, and I feel like there are the playstyles there. Like, so for cannon, for example, so obviously all you do is use laser. You build a reheat, you shoot your mortar, you catch it, you use a laser. But there is an alternate playstyle that I was fiddling with, where if you have your heat but you don't want to use the mortar, you can do a box and jump off the box and discharge your heat with like a little like ground shot cannon AoE. It does a lot of damage and it discharges your heat, and it's a cool like aerial shooting style that you can do. The problem is the shot is scaled to how far the shot travels. So
you need to build 3 boxes.
But you have to build 3 boxes. But then also, if you're fighting against bigger monsters or they run up to you, it doesn't go very far, so it ends up doing like 20 damage. If it has to go from all the way up, all the way down to the ground and hit, then it does like 1,000 damage. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it just, I don't know why. Pushed,
that's so weird. Yeah. It's like a motion value on the animation's runtime.
Yeah,
that's super weird.
It is, and it's really annoying. I'm like, why is this a thing? Like, this could have been a cool style if you just balance the damage numbers so that the time it takes to build the heat and do it this way is slightly less than doing it just the laser way. But I'm like, but then you made this whole...
It'd be like Switch Axe ZSD, like early finisher versus full finisher, right?
Yeah.
Just like, you did it the fast way, you get less damage. You did it the full long way, you get more damage.
Yeah, something like that. Like, it would have been cool, but it's like, why do we have these weird modifiers and stuff. And I feel like other weapons can do like that too, where you can do stuff a little bit differently. But right now, there's no fucking point.
I mean, I guess it's all based on animation commitment, right? Because like if you're able to do that like short hop to still get like 1,000 damage, then you'd be trying to get that every single time because you have less animation commitment. You know?
True.
So I get that might be like a built-in scaling to the game where like if the animation commitment is shorter, you get a damage debuff. But like 1,000 to 20 though is like a huge animation debuff.
Yeah,
like fuck
it's
that.
really like that. Like if you hit a monster point blank with the jump shot, it does like, I think realistically it does about 120 damage. It's about as much as just shooting it normally.
Yeah, no, that's not great.
Yeah, so it's whatever. But yeah, like I would like to see some rebounds too.
Yeah. Now, what I expect to get is literally none of that, and exactly what you said, which is we're just going to get an armor set that's mediocre at best, and it might provide like another way to get Sprint Master, or another way to get the night, because I expect it's gonna be like a nighttime variant Deathstalker or something. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of non-elemental one.
But it's like, don't you also think it's funny with the armor systems? Like all the Sprint Masters are on the boots, all of like the weapon boosts are like on the waist, and like all the skills like on the arms are always the same. Like there's no variables. Like it's just like
it's an arbitrary balance that they made, right? Like, I think it's so it would limit our ability to like min-max in mix sets, and I think it's good if they have a lot planned for the game, right? Think about it in like terms of like World and Iceborne. You know, like World gave us one distinct end game that was very like mishmashed, and like you could maybe hit attack boost 7 on most sets and then like have like a little bit of crit and like a little bit of Wex. Then we have Iceborne, which is, hey, have every skill in the entire world. You know, I think it's that kind of balance. Like this is the beginning of the game. Like this is the first iteration of Monster Hunter 1. We're gonna get one maxed out skill. We're gonna have one useful skill.
But do you think this game is gonna live long enough to develop that much? Are people going to give it a chance?
I think this game. So like this is where I'm at with the game right now. I don't think it has enough of a robust end game to make me come back playing it every single day. I do think it has enough of a robust end game to have me come back and playing it every title update, like Rise does. And I have 600 hours in Rise, 400 or 300 hours of that being speedrunning. So I have 300 or no, I think I have 600 hours on my casual file now. I have a lot of time in Rise. And that's the only way I play Rise right now is like when a title update comes out and occasionally to speedrun it, which I haven't done in a year. You know,
yeah, you'll drop like 20 hours on it every update kind of thing.
Yeah, and like the last update like really pushed me. Like I actually like put in like 60 hours in 1 week with the last update. I was like, damn, dude, this is fun. And then, you know, the only reason I'm not playing it now is because I have Wild Hearts, because it's something new and interesting to try. So like I don't think that's a bad life cycle for a game. But we can't compare anything to Monster Hunter World, right? World was an anomaly.
It was such a flash in the pan. It was so ridiculous.
I mean, World is Monster Hunter's equivalent of Pokemon Go. You know, like it is this thing that happened that performed incredibly well that no one expected to see. You know, and I don't think like any comparison to that is ever fair. Even for like the next Monster Hunter 6, like thinking it's going to be World 2 is like the biggest overtaking I've ever thought. Like if it's Rise again, I would be surprised, you know?
I honestly, I feel like they're going to try and make it more like World 2 and try to recapture that magic. But I'm like, the jump between Gen to World was so drastic that I don't think we'll see a jump that crazy for God knows if ever, because like it's just going to be a similar like 3D Monster Hunter game. It's not like we're gonna have the change in maps and the change in like the way the players behave and stuff. Like all that's gonna be
unless they do. I mean, unless they do, because like there's nothing saying that they can't do those things. It's highly unlikely that they would. The only way that I see a big jump happening like that is that if they change the entire design of the game from a multiplayer RPG to a multiplayer MMO. That's the only way. That's the only way I see that. I mean, an MMO style
and that's
game.
Not gonna happen.
Exactly.
But also they could do something drastic where they do like what people have been saying, like maybe it's going to be more open worldy and they change the whole map system up again and they change the way you interact with people again, because now there are just people. Yeah, there's multiple hubs and cities. Yeah, like technically they could, but you know
they've done it before.
Thinking realistically,
like for you and Gen had multiple hubs, had multiple places that you could go to, had a story that would progress with those things. There's no reason that they couldn't do these things. They've done it before, and World had it. And World, like, But like World's like the new frontier, right? So like their installments are like, you know, camps, like mishmashed and kind of like thrown together, improvised out in the wilderness. Right. So like it makes sense that they can absolutely move towards these things. Will they is like the other
right? Because I feel like, especially because this franchise is just so done, baked, finished, that I don't think we're gonna get many huge drastic changes like that again.
Yeah,
like that was a generational like hardware jump that needed to be done, but like I don't think they're going to change up their formula all that much. Like they're not going to change the way the weapons behave. Like they'll change some combos here and there, but they're going to play largely the same. The armor system and the skill systems, the weapon trees, all that stuff is going to be pretty much the same. They're not going to change that. So
I mean, it's now its Pokemon life cycle, right? Like it's like Pokemon. You can expect the same game every time, but what's the new gimmick? What's the new thing?
Right.
And for Monster Hunter, it's the same thing. It's new monsters, new skills, new locales. Like that's the thing that we expect
Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we expect with Monster Hunter. But like when we're talking about like a game like Wild Hearts, it's like it has time to catch up with that. And so that's why I'm saying like right now, like what we're looking at is like the equivalent of 3 Monster Hunter Tri coming to the States, right?
Anywhere, basically.
Exactly. And it's giving I think it's doing a really good job in that like the limited gameplay style is a good thing to want, right? Like it's not like me saying like I want more options is a bad thing. It's a good thing because it gives them more opportunity to build on it. Do I think we're going to see it in the lifetime of Wild Hearts and the free title updates? Probably not, given like their roadmap and the things that they're talking about releasing. Because like, how do you build a brand new system and a decent kind of options in just releasing 2 monsters, of which only one's going to give equipment based on what currently exists, you know?
Right.
Like how do you do that? You do it with a DLC. You do it with Wild Hearts Iceborne. You know?
I mean,
like
I don't see people buying a Wild Hearts DLC. Not unless
right now,
this game flips a big 180.
Yeah. Not right now. It's not going to happen, you know. It doesn't. I don't think this game really kind of attributes itself to a DLC. I don't think the way that they've set themselves up right now really is thinking paid DLC, paid another year-long extension.
I don't think they'll do it. No, I think
I see.
Oh, go ahead.
The title up, like the title updates, like obviously make sense, and depending on the types of monsters that they add to that, whether they be what we call variants or subspecies, and the deeply volatiles, or if they do add entirely like brand new monsters, that might change my opinion on what if a DLC is going to happen.
I honestly don't think we're going to get a new monster. We're going to get a deeply volatile variant. If you didn't know, if you haven't done the deeply volatiles, they are new variants of every monster. So. I think we're
did Toontail.
Yeah,
and that was awful.
Really?
I timed out on it.
Yeah, it's a rough fight.
And then it hit me once, and I got stunned, and then it just killed me. I was like, well,
yeah, because that was fate either.
Like 35 minutes of my life gone.
But yeah, so the 4 deeply volatiles right now are new variants of monsters. We're gonna get the lava back deeply volatile. I feel like by the end of how many title updates we're going to have, we're going to get a deeply volatile every update for a pre-existing monster. And then we'll probably get another variant for monsters that don't have them, like Ember Plume, Tempest, Amaterasu. I don't know who else doesn't have it. Yeah,
Tempest variant would be cool.
I guess Death Stalker we didn't have a variant for.
Yeah, so we're getting that.
So we'll probably get a variant for those monsters, and then the deeply volatiles for some of the lower tier monsters.
Variant Grit Dog?
Yeah, variant Grit Dog.
An ice Grit Dog? Ice Dog?
Like Ice Dog. Yeah, like
Frost Dog.
we'll probably get those, but then honestly, I can't see them doing anything else. And then I'd be okay with that if during this lifestyle we get like this whole like these deeply volatiles, these variants, and then the game performance-wise gets better, and then they change some stuff, and the game ends up in a good complete game state, and then be like, cool, let's stop it there. I don't think even then that we should get DLC or expansions or anything like that.
Wild Hearts
2. Yeah. Like, take your ideas, all the stuff that worked, and improve on it. Don't try and sell people like a small $40 DLC. Just
No.
a new one.
That gives us the same of what's already in here in the flawed systems that have already been identified in the rather bottlenecked end game. You know, like there's no reason to keep doing that. They like because they have a good product here, right? The game is fun. Like the game is so fun that even just playing through it, I'm already thinking like speedrunning it. Am I gonna consistently? I don't know yet. But like this game was like not on my radar. I decided that I was going to get into it 2 weeks before it came out. You know, like it wasn't anything that I was like anticipating on. Right. And so that says a lot to someone like me who 6 or 5 years later is still playing Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
Right. Like to get me to stop playing that game for 2 weeks is a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I would literally do the same thing. I was starting my 4U speedrunning. I finally got back into 4U, started speedrunning. I was like, yeah, I'm getting in this. This is fun. And then Wild Hearts drops. I'm like, well, we're going to fucking go over here.
Yeah, we're going to do that instead.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was it's a good change of pace for us. And it's a nice thing, too, to like see what can be done well in another hunting genre. I don't think anything that Wild Hearts does, other than like the weapon system, which is kind of unique to Wild Hearts. I don't think anything that Wild Hearts has done would be implemented well in Monster Hunter. I think it fits the hunting genre, but it's not Monster Hunter. It's a completely different game. They are very divergent in that. It's like you can have a fox, sure, but is it a red fox or is it an Arctic fox? Like, they're very different things. And it's kind of like the divergent path that we see here, that the game does kind of make its own name for itself, right? Like it's its own thing. It's not Monster Hunter again.
Right. Yep.
And I'm happy with that. Like I think that's super cool that we see like something advertising itself as a hunting genre to Monster Hunter fans and it being uniquely different.
Yeah. And I think it came out really good. And it's something that honestly I would like to see more of, because I was like, there hasn't been very many hunting genre games. Like this is the same company that did Toykiden. Toykiden. Okay.
Something like that.
So like they're probably not working on another one of those. That was another hunting genre game that's probably gone. I think
they had 2 of them, didn't they? There was 2 of those.
I think there was 3.
3? Oh God.
No, maybe
I didn't hear about that game until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think the last one came out like 2013.
Yeah, but we are not getting another one of those. Yeah, that's done.
And so like I think God Eater was another hunting game. But like,
yep, God
Eater, Monster Hunter, Dauntless, and this now. And like, is there any other actual hunting games? Like,
I mean, like actual like monster hunting genre in this kind of thing that we're talking about, and not like, you know, Buck Hunter 20.
Yeah, not Cabela's. Yeah,
not Cabela's. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I honestly do think that's it. I mean, and like God Eater has 3 games to itself, you know, and is pretty established as I was told that it was a JRPG and not a hunting genre game. And then when I asked people like, what are some like other Monster Hunter like games that aren't Monster Hunter? And someone told me God Eater 3. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I've seen God Eater. I haven't played it. It looks very JRPG. So
it is.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's the same people it's also the same people that made what was that? Souls-like, and the anime Souls-like.
Code Vein?
Yeah, because I started that. It's the same people that made Code Vein. It's the same universe as Code Vein.
Okay.
But Code Vein is a Souls-like rather than a hunting genre, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Hunting genre games need the competition. I think a lot of people were excited to see this come out because a lot of people were disappointed with Rise and the kind of dramas around Rise. And I think Rise is a perfectly fine, okay game, but a lot of people were just not happy that it, you know, wasn't World 2.
Yeah.
And
basically.
That's fine. It's okay to have that expectation when you think games are linear and sequential, when this game was actually built to run on the 3DS. So think about that next time you want to complain about Rise. No, Rise was developed on the Switch, or on the 3DS.
Really?
Rise was developed on the 3DS, intended to release on the Switch. It had transition zones, and when they saw World doing so well with transition zones, they re-scrapped the whole game.
I thought they did start it with...
Started on the 3DS.
Really? I thought they started on the Switch.
Okay. Game was in development before the Switch came out. They didn't have hardware to develop the game on Switch.
The game is so
before the Switch came out. Exactly. That's like one of the, like, once I understood that, it made so much more sense, like why Rise just like has some weird interactions.
Yeah, a lot of weird ideas there, but fair enough.
Yeah. Wild Heart's good. Wild Heart's fun. Play Wild Hearts. Oh, I was going to say that too. If you don't want to spend $70 on the game, it's on Game Pass and EA Pass.
Yep.
You can spend $5 a month to try it out right now. And if you do enjoy it, drop the 70 or get a month out of it, which realistically, it's a month play. We've been playing for 2 weeks. I think
hard,
and you just tweeted out this week too that you were done with it, and I tweeted out last week that I was done with it.
Yeah. So
like
weeks.
it's a game that you can get 2 weeks easily, 80 hours out of, right? And if you find more enjoyment in it, buy it. You know, and if you get your value out of it in the month that you have Game Pass, which Game Pass works for games on Windows. So if you want to play it on PC still, you can still get it on Game Pass. And then EA Pass if you also want to play it on PC. I don't know if PlayStation Plus includes it.
I don't think so, to be honest.
I don't think it does.
No.
But
there are options. Yeah.
There are options, right? Like, educate yourself on this, because I've seen so many creators getting so pissed off about this game's performance and mad that they spent $70 on it and they've played too much, they can't get a refund now. And it's like, brother, you did not educate yourself.
Yeah.
You did not need to spend $70. You know, you could have just paid $5, gotten your 20 hours out of it, been aggravated that you spent $5 on it, but made that back up in 2 subs. My guy, you're good.
Yeah.
You know, you had options. And so that's your option. If you are on the fence about this game, but you do want to try it, do that.
Yep. Do that. Definitely. Don't spend $70 yet. Try it first. There's plenty of ways to do it. It
might become a game worth $70 eventually. I think right now it's a game that's worth paying for 1 month of a subscription, playing it for 2 weeks, and then canceling the subscription. Yeah, and seeing if you can play it, and then canceling it, and then waiting for the next title update to come out, and then paying $5 again for the next month to pay. Realistically, if this thing gets 4 title updates, okay. If it gets 4 title updates for the rest of this year, and you just paid $5 to play the game and each title update, that's $20 in the year rather than spending $70 on the game. I'm just saying.
Yep. No, that's a good point. Definitely go that route. It's not like your save's going to go anywhere. So
yeah, exactly. It's all cloud save. It all goes onto the EA's like cloud save and onto your game, they're onto your system. You know, do it.
Okay, well, that's a good place to end.
I have nothing else to rant about. Yeah, unless we want to start talking about Pokemon, I've got nothing else to rant about.
No, I mean, come on, we went a good 2.5 hours on Wild Heart stuff, so
yeah,
that's good. All right, cool. Well, thanks for hanging around, Bagel. I do appreciate it. Always good talking to people who understand more intricate stuffs about games. So
yeah, and other people that complain about when things don't work perfectly.
I mean, clearly we're fine with flaws because it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good stuff, dude.
Cool. I appreciate it, dude. I'll see you next time and talk to you later, man. All right. Peace, guys.